Tensei Shitara Slime Ken. Chapter 61, The First Dungeon Conquest. Well, we're now going to a place called Dwelling of the Spirit that's located in the Ulg Nature Park in Ulg Republic. It's already been 1.5 months since I became a teacher. Of course I had a purpose for coming here, but it's really hard to take these children outside for traveling. We have been studying in this classroom all this time. With the reason that they didn't know how far the church's influence are, the academy did not give us permission to go outside. Certainly, there is a church next to it. It can be said that this is the main reason. However, children should go outside and play around, not spending their time locked up in an academy. Hearing about this from the children, Shizu-san tried to bring them outside, but it was rejected. Somehow, it seems they are trying too much in trying to confine the children. Am I underestimating the church way too much? Anyway, I'm doing what I believe is the right thing to do. And thus, I'm taking the children outside. First of all, I made the children memorize. Normally, it's impossible even in 1 year to understand it. It's necessary to understand both of the structure of the magic formation and to have the knowledge of the meaning on the system's crest. This magic is far more advanced than, it really is cruel to make children that haven't even hit 10-year-old to learn it. But, they might not be able to do it even if they took 3 years, perhaps there is no need to have them memorize the theory and such. Although it's unfair, on such occasion, it's time for the skill to shine. With my shapeshifter abilities, I can embedded my knowledge and fused it into the children. Actually I think it's unfair, but there's no need to be picky about one's appearances anymore. Next, I summons Ranga's subordinate. With their transforming ability, I make them take the form of the children. I also made myself a clone, and then the preparation is completed. Even if I had thought that there might be problem to those who opposed with them going outside, I still chose to do it. I had discussed it with Yuuki for several times, but he think it's too dangerous and our opinion clashed. It would be great if I had succeed in persuading him, but sadly it's all in vain. I can persuade him slowly if there is time, but putting me aside, the children don't have much time left. Great Sage had predict that at the earliest, the children had a time limit of 3 months. There is no time for a leisure discussion. I'm forcing myself to learn to bring the children outside. Why learn? The reason is simple. There is no need to search for the lodging while we travel, so the church won't be alerted by it. Moreover, until we reach our destination, there is no need to enter Ulg Republic personally, and we can go straight to Ulg Nature Park. Me and Ranga will take the children, and then we will travel rapidly. Before school lunchtime arrives, using the installed magic formation we will have already returned to the classroom. After eating the lunch, we'll then use and resume our travel from where we left. The purpose for making the children use magic is to have them use their magic power. If a grand magic is used, we can postpone their breakdown for a while. The children agreed without complaining. How should I say it? Their first trip caused them great excitements. They are scared at first, but after they accustomed to the high-speed movement of me and Ranga, they enjoyed it with a great smile. At the beginning, there was someone who's peed at my back. Who would think such thing can happen? Geez. To protect their honor, they deliberately didn't said a single word. While various small things happens, we finally arrived at the dwelling of the spirit at last. Ulg Republic is very different from the nations surrounding Jura Forest. It's not under the influence of the Western Saints Church. Also, this small nation is not a member of the council. They receive the divine protection of Spirit of Wisdom. This is the nation who conducts trade with Sorcery Dynasty of Sarian. While there is no restriction for going in and out of the nation, there are relatively few criminals in that nation. The reason is straightforward. This nation's people are all user. More or less can be divided into 2 main categories. The first is. This category has a lot offensive spell that is similar to. It's borrowing the power of the spirit when using it. It requires magic power as compensation. There's no need to chant in spells, everyone can use it if they are connected with the spirits they contracted with. However, to be recognized by the spirits, it was necessary to be liked by them. In this nation, there are many persons that is liked by the spirits that exist inside the nation. Therefore, they are holding the contract ceremony when someone reaches the age of 10 years old, If there's a person who is unable to make contract with the spirits, that person will be driven out from the nation when reaching 20 years old, losing their qualification as a citizen. However, because there are many kinds of spirits, a person that is unable to contract with the spirits are rare. The second is, in this category, it was necessary to be contracted with a powerful spirit. However, to do the summoning a chant is required, though it's easier than the other type of magic. To that extent, there are no need to compare the power. Only borrowed a portion of the spirit's power, while with it's possible to use the power of the spirit itself. Besides its power, it surpassed it in all other area. Thus, the power of borrowing is no match for the real thing. It's very difficult for a user of to win against an opponent who uses. Even if the opponent has bad affinity against the other side, he would be able to turn over the disadvantage with. Sorcery Dynasty of Sarian, a nation where the representative chanting magic is the mainstream magic, contrary with Ulgrasia Republic where the contract magic, that is the mainstream magic. For these reasons, because there are a lot of exchange between them, and there is the background that works together in competition, and develops each other's. And so, we come to this place with an objective. That is of course, spirit summoning. I had raised a hypothesis. And that is, regarding the situation of the flame giant, Ifrit, that Shizu-san fusion with, having its magic power rampage would somehow prevented causing body decay. Is it high-rank spirit magic to control Ifrit, or is it because of the unique skill shapeshifter that the fusion was able to be done? In any case, the key is to use with a spirit. A sentient spirit are few in number, and it's called a high-rank spirit. In this city, there are two places to contract a spirit. First is in a place where the citizens conduct their contract that is on an altar in the middle of the city. But this place has a rare chance of a high-rank spirit to be summoned. For the user of high-rank spirit magic, to conduct contract, it is necessary to go to the other place. That is, the dwelling of the spirit. It's a labyrinth that stretched in the underground or maybe in the air. The only door to enter is located in Ulg Nature Park. The door is embedded on a big rock, and beyond the door is a different dimension. But, our purpose is to contract a high-rank spirit, so there is no other choice for us than to keep going. We take preparation to rest for one night. From beyond this door, it is doubtful if we can use to return. Although I had a hunch it won't be impossible. Anyway, the magic formation in the park was installed in such way to not draw any attention. At the worst, if the inside is suspicious it is still possible to use it to escape, although I doubt whether it would be useful or not. Just for an insurance though. And then? Are the preparation finish? We might not return once we enter. Are your guys ready? In response to my question. Of course. It's all right. And so on. Several answers come. There. There is no need to be afraid. Lately, they begun to put their trust into me, the feelings they harbor toward me is different compared from before. Transforming into a black wolf, I instant kill any monsters that get on our way, that might be what gain their trust. Then, let resume the travel. Regarding that place, I obtained some information about it when I was searching for information in the library. Unfortunately, although it accurately tell the location, it's not written what kind of monsters that are going to appear on the inside. It only said that there would be a trial. I don't know what kind of danger we'll face. Can me and Ranga protect the children? There is a slight feeling of unease. If it's not good, I might temporarily withdraw and call Benimaru and others. Anyway, we went inside and proceed carefully. The inside, even though the sunlight did not able to reach inside, it's still full with bright lights. Just in case, I turn off the magic perception, it seems the vision is alright. There's also no problem with the atmosphere. The children can enter without any problem. With all members inside, we proceed with caution. I assign Ranga as the bodyguard of the children. Rather than a labyrinth, it's a straight path. We advanced carefully. I'm thankful for the mind mapping. I can go on straight path. There are many traps installed here that can disturb someone's sense of direction. Looking behind, the road that was illuminated by the lamp-like mechanism is now hidden by the shadow. Looking at front, the path once hidden by light now become visible. I see. It really is a labyrinth. Using normal person sense of direction, perhaps it's possible to become lost. This has somehow become quite frightening. Oh well. Well. My. Oh my. Found it out. Outfind it. Oh. Ah. Oh. Ah. Oh. Ah. Chatter, chuckle, giggle. All of a sudden I hear the spirit voice in my mind. A really strong mind voice. No, maybe this is mind communication, telepathy? Oh foolish visitors. Become more in dread. Become more in fear. What a selfish words. The children are restlessly looking at their surroundings. Chloe and Alice didn't release their hand from my clothes. However, even the timid Ryota drew his sword as if to protect the girls. The three boys had been given swords a while ago. It was something that I copied, a sword made from pure demon steel with it transformed into a shape that's suitable for them. It's fortunate that there are circumstances to warrant their need before, however. Good. Good. More in fear. If not, it boring. Famu. We arrived at a certain room. To make noise as they please, however, it's annoying. Hey. Are you the one living in this place? Well then, are you the spirits perchance? We have a purpose for coming here. We had business with the high-rank spirit. So if it possible, can we ask guidance from you? Just in case, I asked. Now, what kind of reaction they will show? Ah ha 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 ha. Fu. This is interesting. More interesting than surprise. More interesting than fear. Nice. Nice. I tell you. However. In front. A light extend at the end of passage. It's just like an invitation. Well, there is nothing other than to accept. When we advance at the passage, there is a great hall. And the middle of it, there was a giant. Now, let's begin the trial. The giant's eyes shone red. Suddenly I start wondering, why the eyes of suspicious monsters always shining red? Well, whatever. Hey, can you hear me? If I defeat the giant, will the trial end? That's right. Well. Just like that. Then, it's easy. I let Ranga protect the children, only I'm alone that went ahead. Oh. Oh. Oh my. Doing it alone. Overconfident is dangerous, you know. Are you guys worrying about me? Well, it will be okay. I analyzed the giant in front of me. Name, Spirits Protector Colossus, temporary. Material, magic steel. Ability, over rank A. Magic power, over rank A. Phew. I almost blown away. As in shocked? I'm naming it without any permission, its ability are dangerous. A magic doll, golem, made from magic steel, with a height of 3 meters. It had a massive figure. Perhaps its weight is about 30 metric ton. To put it simply, if someone receives its physical attack they will receive tremendous damage. Even if there is physical attack resistance, it has no meaning if you get crushed. While still observing it and see what it will do, the giant's silhouette blurred. Well, I still see it, but its movement is as fast as a master swordsman. This is a very dangerous enemy. Its speed and its weight. If it hits, it definitely will cause a more disastrous damage than a traffic accident. Geez, is this really a trial? Are they trying to kill me? No doubt it. Hey. What is this thing? You guys are not testing me. You are trying to kill me instead. So I shouted. Chatter, chuckle, giggle. Well, that's so, that's right. Can you win? Can you win? Really? What are those guys really want? Are those guys retards? I'm really mad inside, but it's gone when I see how childish they are. No good. No good. In front of the children, I must act like a gentleman. It's no good if I lose my reason and succumb to rage, that's my teaching position. Well, the cool me has never been recklessly angry, this is something I'm aware of. Hee-hee-foo-ya. I steady my breath and took a stance with some leeway. Heck, Even without getting serious, it's alright if I don't get hit. It's quite fast, but I'm faster than that thing. I am a guy who can disappear as fast as the speed of sound. Well, maybe Black Lightning won't be effective against it. Because, it's made of metal. The electric current might travel to the ground and neutralized. With the magic I learnt, there was none that works. Water blade and fireball is useless. Also, slicing it with sword is out of question. Even if it possible to cut it, the sword might break and it's troublesome, so I won't do it. A lump of magic steel, I wish you can pardon me from doing such thing. The magic puppet, golem, has the highest hardness yet agile, it means it had few weaknesses, so troublesome. Then, shall I burn it to ashes? Hey, I allow you guys to apologize, but you guys are not apologizing, so it's fine if I destroy it, right? Ah ha 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 ha. Interesting, it's so amusing. Bluffing. Bluffing. Nice, nice. It's sound good. If you can do it, then show it. Phew. I am an adult. So it's alright. I won't get angry by such impudent telepathy. I don't have any vein, so the vein that appears in my head is just part of my imaginations. Well, I get the permission now. Goodbye. Magic puppet, golem. If possible, I want to bring you back as my toy. Miss Aida Iabakujin. Binding formation of bewitching strings. My sticky steel thread's power was different from before, I already strengthened it. I'm infusing it with magical energy, so now it's possible for it to endure weight over 1,000 ton. The thread bind the magic puppet, golem, completely, now its movement was completely stopped. Then, I'm concentrating, and shoot the black flame prison, hell flare, towards it. If you normally shoot it, there was no need to really concentrating. However, to make the range specifically small, it was necessary to concentrate to control the enormous amount of magic power, energy. With support of Great Sage, it's now possible to reduce the size of the black flame prison, hell flare. It's still not possible for Benimaru to use it like this. The attack completely enveloped the magic puppet, golem, in its sphere shape, dome, with diameter of 5 m. So loud. A thunderous sound sounded, the dome disappears while leaving nothing remaining on its traces. Perhaps, inside the dome, the flame prison burns everything to nothingness with its high temperatures that reach several 100,000,000 degrees. Even with my heat attack resistance, it's not possible for me to be unaffected by it. A person that can endure such attack might not exist. The downside of this attack was, if the opponent's not restricted, it's easy thing to avoid the attack. Because it takes some time to cast it. Oh well, it's nice because it succeed well this time. If possible, I don't really want to show this trump card. No way. Unbelievable. Only one hit. It's what I heard from the chaotic telepathy. Apparently, they have put all their confidence on the magic puppet, golem. Of course they are. The children mouths are wide open, they are dumbfounded. It seems the shock is really great. Therefore, I don't want to show it. Anyway. Their attitude that underestimates me is gone. I hope they prepare themselves. It's now time for the punishment. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tensei Shitara Slime Taken, WN. Chapter 62, A Spirit Is. Translator's Corner, Cast, an English clown and a French Pierrot. Clown, Pierrot, I can't move. Pierrot, it's the straight jacket, you fool. You clown. Clown, why did you correct yourself? Pierrot, because you'd just say that your grandfather is a fool, and you are a clown. Clown, how rude. My grandfather was a respected civil servant, Yoshida Yasutoshi. Pierrot, what? Clown, what? Pierrot, what about your grandmother? Wasn't she the bearded lady? Clown, you are being so mean today. Sure, my grandmother did grow big. I mean, she was so big that she could have given Dracula diabetes. Pierrot, you mean, she was so big that when she stepped on the scale the doctor exclaimed, "Oh my god, that's my phone number." Clown, no, she was so big that she didn't need to use internet. She was already worldwide. Pierrot, is that your paternal grandparents? Clown, they are my maternal, why? Pierrot, oh, I was hoping to see if we could guess your last name. Clown, name. Pierrot, you know, what the doctor was saying. Clown, the evil doctor? Pierrot, evil doctor? Dr. Miyagakai? Clown, kill him. Rip him apart. Tie a noose around his neck and let him slowly suffocate. How dare he? How dare he? Life in the royal capital. 062. A spirit is. After vaporizing the golem, I flashed an evil smile. Coo. Now we can continue the conversation on our terms. Now then, if you don't want to be scorched to death, how about you come on out? I know exactly where you are all hiding, you know. I know the general direction but not the exact location. I'd much rather they come out of their own volition. In response to my words, in great panic. Yes. Yes. As you have commanded, though greatly embarrassed, we appear before you. And, with dragonfly wings growing from their backs, tiny and cute girls came flying out. They were no longer than 30 centimeters in height. Not midgets, but the kind of fairy you'd hear about in a fairy tale. At the front of the group lined up girls dressed in dazzling dresses with many frills. Behind them, another group was dressed in rather plain dress. Overall, they dressed in darker colors. Ta-da! I am one of the Tenguet. She bit her tongue. Should I make fun of her? It seems that she's gotten so used to telepathy that she forgot how to talk. Are you okay? She held up her hand in response. I am one of the 10 great demon lords. Ramaris of the labyrinth. Cease thou haughty actions. Show humility. She happily said, while proudly showing off her non-existent chest. Why do I feel so pissed off? First, let's chop her. Ohayu. What was that for? You'll give me a heart attack. She complained after dodging with her small body. Horrible, right? Right? Should we kill it? Kill it? But, it killed the golem, right? Impossible. Impossible. We'll be killed. How noisy. My head was filled with their chatter. Besides, you are cheating. Why aren't you affected by thought manipulation? It's been too long since we last met someone like you. Isn't she furious? I see, so the strange anger I feel towards them is due to me resisting their thought manipulation, right? However, there's no way anyone among these fairies, brats, is a demon lord. Are they still messing with me? Hey, next time you come up with a more believable one. There's no way anyone among you brats is a demon lord. Don't call us brats. Seriously, how rude. What else am I, if not a demon lord? Huh? An idiot? Anyways, speaking of demon lords, you know how stupid your claim sounds in comparison to my friend Milim? Compared to her, you guys are pathetic. Stupid. Stupid. You are so stupid. The spirit named Ramaris loudly shouted and then stopped to catch her breath. And listen here. When you say Milim, surely you refer to that unreasonable demon lord Milim. The one that solves everything through brute force. To compare that unreasonable brute to the beautiful eye, aren't you just being rude? Hey, I'll be troubled if you can't understand that much. Her words full of indignation. And besides, aren't you a strange one yourself? What was that? Did you have to suddenly use that dangerous skill? How many special skills must you possess to use that hell flare? Please don't be so unreasonable. Ah, whatever. I'm not even surprised that you're that Milim's acquaintance, I believe you. So, believe me as well. Somehow, she might not be lying after all. Well, you know? They look pretty harmless up close. And, they actually listen when you sit down to talk to them. For some reason, I was preparing the snacks. If I am the guest, why are our roles reversed? Not that I care. The kids have gotten friendly with the fairies and are happily munching on some snacks together. With a satisfied smile. In the first place, the golem that freaked us out was meant to be shown after we have had our fun. In fact, they didn't intend to kill us or hurt us. Which is why. And we had just finished making it from all those parts. She complained begrudgingly. Nothing can be done about it now. If I don't kill it, it'll kill me, so I thought back then. Do you know just how efficient it was? Earth spirits manipulated the weight. Water spirits moved each individual joint. Fire spirits provided its power. Wind spirits regulated the temperature. Combination of many chemical elements. It was the epitome of the genius of the ghost researchers. She's surprisingly persistent. If I knew it was going to end up like this, I would have eaten it and made a copy. Though I don't know if I could have done so. But, genius of the ghost researchers? Does that have anything to do with Kaijin's story, the one about the magic soldiers plan the dwarfs had undertaken with the elves? Hey, are you talking about the magic soldiers that the dwarfs and elves have been researching together? Bingo, bingo. How did you know? It went wild after they failed to use the heart, the spirit magic circuits. So, we picked up the shell that they threw out. Does that make us geniuses? Are we that amazing? Annoying, but, yes, amazing. But, we are talking about ghost researchers who employ the power of ghosts, and fairies who are probably in existence close to that of ghosts. In other words, I can accept their proficiency in regards to this question. Anyways, to summarize Ramirez's story, people tried to manipulate the power of ghosts to create a golem. Filling its body with magical energy as if blood, and pumping it with oil to make it move. And to control its way with magic. But it proved nonsensical. I mean, its magic supply would be cut off if it just jumped 5 meters away. However, were it made usable, it would become a terrifying weapon. Though Ramirez is an idiot, I guess she is amazing. Alright, I understand your awesomeness. Now, I have a request to this awesome you. I declared. Then, I explained the children's circumstances. Without hiding anything, truth and only the truth. The children listened intently. I see, I see. I remembered. There was a guy who came here to try some things out. Leon, it was Leon Chan. He had not become a demon lord back then. Well, I could have taken him out with a single punch. No question. Seriously. That's a lie. I mean, it's not a case where she is averting her eyes, they are just spinning out of control. I listened to her story. One day, a young Leon showed up here. Ramirez though manipulation had no effect. In fact, she was controlled instead. For Ramirez, who was only proficient in illusion magic of the spirit magic archive, there was nothing else she could do. Besides, just as it happened with you, once illusion magic failed it was game over. I had not more cards to play, you know? This adorable Ramirez had no other plan. So, I planned to have the golem become my arms and legs. And silence the demon lords who constantly ridiculed. She's complaining again. Not completely disheartened, but certainly holding a grudge. Well, she then went out and lost to the not yet demon lord Leon, and had to help him out. It seems he was researching things, knowledge on how to summon ghosts. Without a single clue, he had managed to summon a high-level fire spirit out of pure anger and then sent him away. The fairies were dumbfounded when he told them. And then, he had this absurd request. To summon world travelers, special individuals from other worlds. Stop asking for the impossible. Are you an idiot? He looked about to cry when I said that. No. Really, he started crying. Yeah. I am not exaggerating in the slightest. Pathetic. A crybaby but so cheeky. Idiot. Why is she getting excited all on her own? Is this a demon lord? Thank goodness. Had the first demon lord I met been this, I would consider them a miserable existence. But, is she going to be fine? If someone learns of her malicious gossip, she'll be erased, no? I mean I can easily squash her. Hey. You are thinking something rude right now, aren't you? No, not at all. Though she's looking at me with suspicion, let's not forget that she's an idiot. She's easy to fool. By the way, the conversation got sidetracked. The point is, I want to have high-ranked spirits stop the children's collapse. Though I can't expect much from this idiot, I still decided to ask. Well, in that case, I was wondering whether a spirit could stop the body's breakdown. What do you think? Her expression became serious. She looked at the children, at each of their faces. She could make a face like that? One truly unbefitting of a demon lord, filled with love. You know, while I am a demon lord, I am also the saint's guide. I bestow divine protection on heroes. So worry not. I am fair. This person before you, preserved the balance of the entire world. So? What's the point? While I was thinking that, she turned to face me. All right. I will help with the summoning. We'll summon the best spirits there are. She so declared. Thus, I was taught about spirits by Ramaris. A spirit is. In nothingness power finds its fill. That is a Holy Spirit. The great Holy Spirit is the source of power. Among these, light and darkness, the two great spirits, who came to exist at the same moment as the world. But, the world was without form, a ephemeral existence. Light and shadow, darkness, and the light. Two existences that shall never interweave. One day, the great spirit time was born. The child of light and darkness. And thus the world began to move. The moving world spun, without purpose, around itself. Inside the flowing currents of life and death. Earth, water, fire, wind, and sky, these five great spirits were born. And since then, these were the great eight spirits. Until the light consumes the world, erasing darkness. Until a new spirit is born, erasing all. Life and death. Heralding the coming end of the world. Is what she said. In other words, first the Holy Spirit had existed, and it gave birth to the other eight. Splendid, right? For a myth, it surprisingly lacks gods. Perhaps this is the truth of this world. By the way, great spirits did not have ego, they were masses of energy. The fire spirit was just an excess fragment of the entire mass. Like a monster, this fragment gained self-awareness. And this self-aware fragment of pure energy thus became a monster. In a few words, paranormal phenomena is what it is. Not that I understand, or want to understand. But, I do get what she wants us to do. The point is, create another fragment, is that it? Ramaris nods. To give birth to a new spirit. If not that, then call forth an existing one. Not an easy task. Since they are capable of thought, it will be difficult to make a spirit obey. Moreover, I don't know whether the kids can handle it. Even so, we have no choice but to try. Either we summon a spirit that can fix our problems, or one that possesses the kids. We'll solve that problem when we get there. I look at the kids. They are all staring at me with a serious expression. Okay. Yeah. A stupid question. All that's left is to have some faith and try it out. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tensei Shitara Slime Talken, WN. Chapter 63, Children and Spirits. Translator's Corner, Cast, an English clown and a French Pierrot. Pierrot, clown, I can't move. Clown, I told you the exact same thing yesterday. Pierrot, and what did I say? Clown, you were rude to my grandfather. Pierrot, Yoshida-ji-san? Why would I be mean to Yoshida-ji-san? Clown, I wouldn't know. Pierrot, I mean, he would play with you and me when I came over to hang out. Clown, did you hang well? Pierrot, once on a tree, yes. Clown, with a rope? Pierrot, yes, why? Clown, and you didn't break your neck? Pierrot, why would you break your neck by hanging? We turned it into a swing, what a silly pun. Clown, not as silly as a joke I know. A husband and wife are moving out of their house and are starting to box everything up. The husband finds a box under the bed, pulls it out, and looks inside, where he finds 2 eggs and about $8,000. He approaches the wife and asks, "What are the eggs for?" She replies, "Every time I cheat on you, I put an egg in the box. He says, "That's alright, you've only cheated on me twice. What's the money for?" The wife replies, "Every time I get a dozen, I sell them." Pierrot, you do remember that my parents divorced, right? Life in the royal capital. 063. Children and spirits. We moved to a different place. To the deepest room in the labyrinth, the oracle room. Prior to arriving through to this room we first passed a large empty room before it. A path that is 1 meter wide and 20 meters long leads from this room to a 5 meter in diameter circular scaffold. What the scaffold is made of I do not know, it looks as if it's spreading through the room. Okay. Step on top of that floor and call out to a spirit. What should we say? Whatever you like, really. Help me. Or, let's play. An interested spirit will definitely appear before you. Will they really come? They will. Sensei, they will, right? Will they? The children look at me with a worried face. Well, I think it will be fine. If no spirits show, I'll make them appear. Hey, you. You're making a scary face. No problem, no problem. Hey, brats. Don't worry. It'll work out. If they don't show up, all I need to do is call them out myself. While I wouldn't mind spirits capable of thinking to appear, we could talk to them in that case, I would prefer non-sentient ones. That is, in that case they could obey me without hesitation. Since I'm coming along. Well, I guess that's fine. Doesn't matter to me how many people go, but it is narrow. So, since you're coming, it's probably best to bring one child at a time. It's probably also a good idea to summon a spirit for each one of them. Why? There might be some grown-up negotiations involved. But anything goes as long as we can avoid negotiating with our fists. All right. One person at a time will go. Who's first? Then, we decided the order. First will be the eldest Gale. Then Alice. Followed by Kenya and Ryauta. And concluded with Chloe. They did quarrel about it, but in the end were satisfied with this order. Let's get this over with. A tranquil room. Without a sound to be heard, enveloped by a dim light. Only our footsteps reverberated throughout it. Sensei, if anything happens to me, please take care of them. Don't be so formal. He's too tense. Without a word, I rub his head. We have reached the circular room. It's designed with an optical illusion that makes you feel as if you are falling. But magic perception clearly sees a scaffold in there. Transparent glass? Acrylic fibers or something. I step onto it while a little surprised. But Gale is trembling in fear. Don't worry, there's a platform here. If anything happens, I'll save you. I said, having long resolved myself. Timidly and carefully. He proceeds into the center. Okay, there's fine. I'm looking forward to the phrase you choose. Ramaris told him. And after she tapped his head, he closed his eyes and began to pray. Kneeling, as if praying to the gods. I crossed my arms while observing this. After some time has passed, drops of light began to fall from the sky. Like snow. And, before us on the altar a single person, no, a single spirit appeared. Gale noticed this and continued to pray. Good job. It's a success. A non-sentient mass of natural energy. Appearing like a mass of magical energy, but a mere counterfeit. Will it be able to acquire an ego? Like Feldera's cave, this place is filled with natural energy. If it's not self-aware it will probably disperse, then come together again to give birth to a new spirit. Then, without any hesitation, I ate the spirit. Gale, continue praying. What was that? You, what have you done? Ramaris, shut up for a second. I've got a plan. Calmly, I call forth Great Sage. After reading my intentions, it began the calculation. And after completing them, it began transforming the spirit. Announcement. Transformation of the spirit using Great Sage has been completed. The contents are now mostly of Earth attribute abilities. Furthermore, after analyzing Flame Giantiferate, a pseudo-human personality has been created. Corrective ability from the unique skill Great Sage has been added. Will you bestow this power on Gale Gibson? Yes/no. I place my hand on Gale's head, select yes, and grant him the power. Through this, the contract with the spirit will be completed within a single moment. After analyzing Gale's condition, I confirmed that the rampaging magical energy was now at peace. Of course, his aggregate energy is still far higher than that of normal children. That is the result of spiritual energy and magical energy offsetting each other. Now, as he continues to grow, he will probably be able to acquire many abilities. Surgery was successful, I thought in my mind, and shook hands with the Great Sage mentally, of course. I mean, I haven't ever seen what it looks like and have no idea if it even has a form. Yup, all done. Good job. I say to Gale. Doesn't look like he was in pain or anything, he just quickly looked up at me. I gave a big nod. Yuri okay now? The collapse has stopped, I guarantee it. With a face full of tears. Sensei, thank you very much. He bowed. While hiding my embarrassment, I patted his head, and so we rejoined the other kids. Everyone was very happy to find out that we had succeeded. But, we have just begun. It's meaningless unless everyone is saved. Steel yourselves. We'll celebrate when everyone is saved. They were reminded by my words and nodded. Let's move on to the second one. Next was Alice. She said that she was scared walking down the path, so I carried her instead. Chloe and Alice seemed to bickering about something before, but it's probably just children's dispute. Without a care in the world, I picked Alice up and proceeded towards the room. I hope things go just as good this time. Under my watchful eye, Alice bowed down to pray. Holding her hands together tightly, holding onto her skirt. After waiting for a while, light began to fall from the sky just as before. The moment the spirit appeared on the altar, I ate it. Ramaris looked as if she had something to say, but I completely ignored her. I've gotten used to this the second time around. Announcement. Transformation of the spirit using Great Sage has been completed. The contents are now mostly of Sky attribute abilities. Furthermore, after analyzing Flame Giant Ifrit, a pseudo-human personality has been created. Corrective ability from the unique skill Great Sage has been added. Due to excellent affinity, it has fused with Shadow Step and evolved into Spatial Transfer. Will you bestow this power on Alice Rondo? Yes/no. Seems like my ability has evolved after coming in contact with a spirit. What an unexpected occurrence. I granted the ability to Alice. Oh, by the way, barrier has changed into spatial barrier, but I cannot give it to Alice. I wonder if her affinity with it is just bad or something. Well, it's a skill she can just acquire on her own someday. Alice, well done. You're fine now. I held her up in my arms and said. She smiled widely and kissed me on the cheek. Oi, what a precocious child. I mean, should I even be happy to be popular with 7-year-olds? Nah, I'm happy. Just remember, I'm a gentleman, not some perverted lolicon. Thanks. She bowed in thanks, and we returned to the rest of the group. The moment I put her down, she began to quarrel with the furious Chloe, but I guess that just shows how close they are. I returned to the circular room with Kenya. Now I feel confident. Things are going smoothly. Just 3 left. In worst case scenario, I had planned to summon the spirits myself and grant them to children, but there was no need for that. But, I am glad there's only 3 left. Transforming the spirits takes up a surprising amount of energy. I should be able to manage 3 more. The moment Kenya started praying, he hasn't even closed his eyes yet, light began falling from the sky. What? That's a mass of energy far larger than the ones that appeared for the other 2. And there stood a human-shaped spirit, a boy. Yo. How's life? I'm good. I felt like coming over, so I did. And extended a casual greeting. You, why did you just come to someone's house uninvited? Ramaris, her eyes wide, asked that of the child spirit. Seems like they know each other. Yo, who's that? To my question, without waiting for Ramaris' introduction. Oh so. I am the spirit of light. Unlike that depressing and fallen descendant of darkness spirit, I am a pure spirit," he said. After thus introducing ourselves, we continued the discussion. Kenya, in a panic, was staring at us. "Stop it, already." After listening to our story, and perhaps maybe because Kenya had a good disposition towards light, so I decided to help Kenya. Is how it happened. Generally, light and darkness spirits have the highest social standing, and are the highest grade of spirits. Seems like he's also capable of bestowing divine protection onto heroes. In the first place, Ramiris and him are supposed to do that together, but that rarely happens. The last time we blessed a hero together was, what? 2,000 years ago. Is what he said. After Ramiris got really bored and decided to become an evil spirit, bestowing divine protection became his job. A pointless discussion, but it seems that Ramiris has inherited herself from previous generations. She used to reign as the Queen of Fairies, but after reaching the pinnacle of power beyond which she could not progress, she decided to split herself. And to each one of these clone children she gave a sense of self. Thus, when they would grow up they could perhaps surpass the original. The flaw being, their weakness during childhood. A race that continuously strove to grow out of weakness. Among all the demon lords, only she possesses such hereditary abilities. Random outbursts of anger are expected from the selfish Ramiris, but their relationship can be described in only one word: terrible. Doesn't it seem like most of demon lords are selfish? Can't say that all of them are like that, but so far. So, until Ken-chan grows up, I'll be protecting you. Maybe, Ken-chan, you can even become a hero. Saying so, and without waiting for permission, he entered Kenya. Much too quickly Kenya's body completely stabilized. Sensei. It's okay. All according to plan. Whose plan? I retort to myself, just remember, me, if you let it get to you, you lose. Things are going smoothly. Though Kenya seemed to doubt my words, he did believe the fact that his condition stabilized. After returning to the rest of the group he explained the situation himself. Somehow, he seems to have matured a bit. Next would be Ryota. What spirit would the weak-willed Ryota summon? It'd be bad if he doesn't appear, I worry. Just as previously, he bowed to pray before the altar. He walked down the narrow path by himself. Seemed spirited enough. Now, what will happen? Immediately, an emerald light fell from the sky drawing thousands of helices. Before anything strange could happen, I ate it. According to the analysis it's water and wind. A two-element spirit. You've done well, Ryota. The rest is up to Great Sage. Announcement. Transformation of the spirit using Great Sage has been completed. The contents are now mostly of heat manipulation ability and transformation ability. Furthermore, after analyzing Flame Giantiferate, a pseudo-human personality has been created. Corrective ability from the unique skill Great Sage has been added. Due to excellent affinity, it has fused with cloning. Attempted to evolve into quantum manipulation. Failed. Will you bestow this power on Sekigakai Ryota? Yes/no. Cloning is something that is very difficult to use without Great Sage support. So even if I grant it to him he probably won't be able to use it. Well, whatever. On that note, quantum manipulation, huh? I have no idea what such a skill could do. In the first place, can it teach me the basic concepts of the skill? I'd be happy if it could. If I investigated its concepts I might be able to replicate its effects. Unlike the system of this world that people ardently study, magic, my abilities are far more unreasonable. That is, if I explain the concept behind a skill in depth to the Great Sage it could create a system to make it usable. Well, what's impossible is impossible, however. Perhaps that's why the evolution had failed. In any case, I was able to successfully bestow the spirit onto Ryota. And so, only one person left. The last person, Chloe, was very afraid to walk there, so I carried her over. She was very happy. Seems like she lied about her fear. Sensei. I love you. Read to her ears she so told me. I also like her. If she chooses, of course, to say the same after 8, no 10 years. I wish I had such a problem in my past life. A pitiful existence, not a day together with a girlfriend, a pitiful man. However, as a result I was able to acquire the wonderful great sage skill. So it's a fair trade, probably not. But how nice. Children are so honest. That's something they can only do when they are in school. Well, past middle school they are often too embarrassed to say anything though. But it was never too late for me. I mean, if something never even started, it can't be too late. But let's forget about me for a second. Unfortunately, I became a little flustered upon hearing her words. Now, what kind of spirit will she summon? She's the last one. Not a time for failure. Like everyone else, she bowed to pray. That's when things started to change. Should I call it that? For example, something did fall from the sky. An oppressive aura, and a beautiful girl with silver black hair. It had the vitality unbefitting a spirit. Is she some astral existence? Abandoned her flesh and lives as a mass of energy. Rather than a spirit, she radiates some form of soul energy. At this rate, she will dissipate. To prevent her dissipation, she either needs something to bind her soul, or to reincarnate into some body. Without a body, we'd need to create some system for keeping her here. Which isn't simple even for a high-level spirit. That girl, celestial maiden, suddenly saw me and grabbed onto me. And locked her lips around mine. Unfortunately, as a ghost, she has no texture. A real shame. Such a beautiful girl, even if she was a ghost. I would never. I mean, what's going on? The celestial maiden, with a look full of disappointment, moved to touch Chloe. Stop. I won't let you. I won't let you do as you please. Suddenly, Ramaris held up both of her hands, prepared for combat. Unlike her usual frivolous appearance, her eyes were completely serious this time. A black light covered her hands which she shot out at Chloe. I jumped in front of Chloe to protect her, and it absorbed into my body. Annihilation magic of instant death. It's hard to believe, but she seriously intended to kill her. Hey. What was that for? Shut up. She's dangerous. Don't you see? I don't. What's dangerous? While we were busy arguing, the celestial maiden overlapped with Chloe and disappeared. Quickly, I verify Chloe's status. The collapse has stopped. No problem, right? Oh. Mao. Too late. I give up. I don't even care anymore. Puffing her cheeks, Ramaris shouted. No idea what just happened. That's why I'm asking, what was that? Ramaris did not respond to my question. Chloe opened her eyes and appeared completely oblivious to our worries. When I asked her again, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. But, that was probably something born in the future. Something that came from the future, and not a spirit. Did she possess that girl to give birth to herself? I don't know. But, that was something truly powerful. If that is born in the future, it'll cause many problems. That's the first time I've seen such a being. Maybe that was the spirit of time. Humph. Don't look at me. I gave up trying to understand. Well, whatever. Chloe is perfectly fine. It's pointless to consider the future we have no control over right now. Good for you, Chloe. You two were able to avoid danger. I said, lifting her up in the air. Chloe smiled happily. Ramaris, looking at us, could only sigh. Well, I guess it's fine. There was nothing more I could do since the moment it possessed the girl. She said, and turned away from us. I think everything will be fine. Chloe is fine and all. By the way, thanks. Thanks to you, the children are safe. When we returned to the group I thanked Ramaris. The children showered her in thanks. Ba. That's enough, already. Her face red, she tried to shake off the embarrassment. This is a demon lord, what's the world coming to? The other fairies flew next to Ramaris, creating a beautiful sight. In order to bless the children who avoided that dreaded fate. To light the fire of happiness in their hearts. And naturally, a smile formed on the kids' faces. And so, I was able to save the kids. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tensei Shitara Slime Datta Ken, WN. Chapter 64, Last Days in the Royal Capital. Translator's Corner, Cast, an English clown and a French Pierrot. Pierrot, clown, I've got a question. You know, somehow I feel I don't know much about you. Clown, that's because you're always depressed. Pierrot, and what does that have to do with anything? Clown, why you simply didn't care for your surrounding. Hence, you know nearly nothing about me. Pierrot, let's fix that then. Who was your first friend? Clown, huh? 1 second, that's a hard one. I remember a girl with blue hair. She always wore a dazzling smile. Akin. Pierrot, who? Clown, sorry, a headache. Aiko. Kanzaki Aiko was her name. Pierrot, huh? That was very interesting, not? Clown, then pick a better question. Actually, wait, it's my turn. What's your favorite fish? To eat, I mean. Pierrot, either tuna or salmon. Clown. Pierrot, what? Clown, why did the fish blush? Because he saw the boat's bottom. Translator's Corner, Cast, AK and AK. AK, I think Clown-sama is slowly losing her mind. AK, no. It is Pierrot-san who is the one losing it. AK, no. I am certain it is Clown-sama. AK, says the person arguing with himself. Life in the Royal Capital. 064. Last days in the Royal Capital. Now that I can rest in peace with regards to the children's health, I decided that it was time for us to return. When I told Ramaris that we were leaving and turned to do so. Wait. Wait. She grabbed and pulled me by the collar. Being strangled feels pretty nasty. Even if I don't need to breathe, it is not a pleasant feeling. What? Picking a fight. Am not. I helped you, so shouldn't you show your gratitude somehow? Of course, you appreciation is thanks enough. But as a fellow person. Ah, my bad. I'm not a person after all. So. I'm off. I quickly retorted. Wait. Hey, you know, we're in trouble. 'Cause you destroyed the golem, we lost our guardian. Look at us, we're all kids here. Really weak, you know? The refor. We're in trouble. Can't you do something about that? Humph. What a pain. I could simply say, you reap what you sow, but it is true that I was the one to break it. Why did I have to vaporize it without a trace? Well, I guess it is true that I went too far there. Even though demonic steel is excellent against demonic abilities, it, as every other metal, has a melting point. So it's not a surprise that it melted. In the first place, I did think that with Great Sage Sensei, I would be fine regardless, and that's how it turned out. I really should have dropped the output a bit. Now then, in place of the golem, I could compensate them with demonic steel, but I feel that would be a waste. Just imagining how much I would need to give to make a golem that size makes me dizzy. Humph. Should I make a human-sized doll and have the spirits possess it? Solution. Verified command create, golem. Creation possible. Abilities can be added through a spirit or a demon. The outward appearance will be according to your imagination. Please decide on a summoning target when creating the golem. Way to go, Great Sage. Seems like it pulled the appropriate spell from thousands of magic archives in an instant. A relatively simple magic. Summoning magic I first saw during the adventurer exam and have been analyzing it ever since. So, all I need to decide is whether to use a demon or a spirit. A spirit, as the previous cases have shown, tend to without a personality. So a demon? Frankly, though their name makes them sound like a backstabbing bunch, they aren't like that at all. Thanks to the summoning contract they cannot betray the summoner. Well, as long as it is reasonable. Any request beyond the original contract annuls it. Such an act testifies that the parties involved are not satisfied with each other. But I guess it's wrong to label demons as evil just because they are demons. So, let's make a golem using demonic steel and summon us a demon. Frankly, I should be able to make an item far stronger than any A-ranked monster around. I got it, I got it. You're noisy, Rami-chan. Listen up, I'll make you a guardian, so no more complaints. As compensation, teach me a bit about the ghost researchers later on. Grandpa Kaijin in my city is deeply curious about them. He was working on the ghost researcher golem before. That's no problem, I'll tell you about them anytime. What kind of golem will you make? Ah, a stronger one than the one I defeated. Seriously? You are so nice. I guess. Oh, I'll make it, but you can't use it for evil deeds or anything. I'll place a master lock on it so that it's only usable for your defense. Okay. No problem. But we can play around with it in here, right? Ah, as long as it's in here. But don't go causing trouble, okay? And by the way, according to my great sages' predictions, it'll turn out really powerful. If handled poorly there will be victims, okay? I said, and began preparations. I took out demon steel from my stomach and stacked them up. Having swam around in my magical energy for a long time, the steel is of excellent quality. The children, interested, crowded around to watch. Where did you pull that from? I don't even know anymore. Ramaris started to say something but gave up halfway. By the looks of it, she gave up not just on the conversation. When I was pleased with the items I took out, I got to work. Spreading my arms I began to chant a spell. Considering that there is an altar up ahead, this may prove dangerous, so I had the kids step back. So only Ramaris is standing behind me. Now then, I hope it succeeds, but I'll be happy as long as it doesn't rampage. I've used up quite a lot of power to alter the spirits. In an answer to my chant, a magic circle began to form on the floor. Oh, and I don't really need the chant, I just felt it matched the atmosphere. From within the magic circle a greater demon appeared. Kneeling before me, facing the ground. Have you called me, my great master? It said. A greater demon. I don't know if there are individual differences between them, but it's far more muscular than the lesser demon. Its skin is black, garbed in expensive clothing. Unknown gender. From both sides of its head, horns protrude. By the way, do demons even have muscles? Ah, whatever. Yup. I have called none other than you. I want you to possess the golem I will make. Payment is my magical energy. The length of the contract is. I look at Ramaris for an answer. 100 years. In 100 years I will finally grow up. Is what she said. Length of the contract is 100 years. Afterwards, you can keep the body or throw it away. How about it? Had I said something like, defeat the one before you, the contract would have been annulled. Anyways, what a troublesome thing the length of the contract is. When nearby, I'll have to refill his magical energy supply, and make sure he doesn't try to reincarnate. And as long as I watch over this being, I cannot summon another. Well, there is a way around that rule. But for now, I need him to protect the fairies here. So let's explain to him his duties. That much is simple, my great master. And I have already received the payment. Huh? The energy I used in summoning is enough? Well, he did take quite a bit already. But I have plenty to go around. In any case, it seems like slowly summoning him was a good idea. As a result, he shows due respect. Had I offered little energy in the process it might have tried to kill me, but that kind of thing can be fixed with a proper contract. Just to be safe, let's make sure we properly summon things and make proper contracts. Well, the contract portion aside, all that's left is the golem. I start working on the demonic steel. A doll necessarily uses spherical joints. That much cannot be avoided. But surprisingly, it's coming out just as I had imagined it. In my previous life, I was jealous of my friends who could make figurines from scratch. Unfortunately, the best the clumsy I could do was put together a model. However, I have changed. Thanks to great sage's correction, it's coming out just as I had imagined. What ya doing? Ramiris peeked over my shoulder, and started making noise. Wah. What? This is amazing. What skill? You are seriously amazing, you know. Can you really make such a thing move? She was very excited. But even I, the creator, hadn't believed I could make it with such precision. Chances are, the fact that I am using pure demonic steel allowed me to shape it as I wanted. The greater demon, looking from afar, upon realizing that it is his body in the making, showed a face of pleasant surprise. Probably. I can't read demons' expressions well. Wonderful, as expected of my master. Honestly, in order to move the golem, all that is needed is to direct magical energy into the joints. Should that be done, the golem will move. What a wonderful body has been made for me. Since he's happy, I guess the body fits. After taking the demons and Ramiris' requests into consideration, I finished the golem. I made the face look like the mask I always wear. The golem was as large as a human. 180 centimeters tall to be precise. For the large greater demon it must have seemed tiny, but I guess that wasn't a problem. Thus, I successfully finished the golem. The greater demon was able to possess it without any problem. By the way, the melting point for most rare resources is around 5,000 degrees. Demonic steel can withstand temperatures up to 9,900 degrees. Furthermore, it can regenerate. In a word, it's superb. So honestly, destroying this golem will prove really difficult. How do you feel? Yes. Wonderful, my overall strength has risen. Compared to incarnating into a monster or a human, the raw power aside, defensive abilities are far superior. How wonderful. This is an amazing body. He reported after verifying the body's abilities. In order to stay in this world, a demon needs a body. Animals and monsters are often used to that end. Instead, I gave him a magically created doll, but that doesn't seem to have caused any problem. Perhaps he recognized it as a monster. After thoroughly investigating the body, he faced me on his knees, and I hope to prove my usefulness to you with this body. After I have protected the fairies for 100 years, please allow me to serve under you. He suddenly said. 100 years from now, will I be alive then or not? I myself don't know. Would I even be alive then? Ha ha ha, what a good joke. What could a mere 100 years do to someone of your caliber, my master? If you only promise me this, I will never bother you with another payment. That being said, just how long is my lifespan? I haven't thought much about that. Whatever. However, he seems very attached. Am I predisposed to be loved by monsters or something? Now then, a name. I don't have much energy remaining. Judging by previous cases, a high-ranking monster will absorb a lot of energy. And this is a great demon, and a high-ranking one among them. If anything, he's at least rank A-, but with a body he's definitely at least A rank. So, considering all the demonic steel I used to create the body, he's way over rank A. Should be fine, right? I still have over 40% left, after all. Alright. In that case, you shall be known as Beretta from now on. I accept your loyalty. Your first job will be to guard Ramiris and the fairies for 100 years. I expect your best effort. I bestowed upon him such a name. His beautiful form reminded me of the famous weapon. And then my energy was sucked out. But this time, I had endured it. Barely above empty. This guy managed to absorb 30% of my energy by himself. That's a lot. And after being named by me, he started to evolve. Seems like the time until evolution starts has also gotten shorter. He first formed into a circle, but then chest, head, hips, arms, and legs formed, along with a face. Looking just like a human. A genderless human. His expression was now hidden behind a mask and, instead of the black skin, long black hair now adorned his body. The skin was pale, and bloodless. As to be expected from a doll. As the transformation began to stop, clothing appeared. The eye slits on the mask glowed crimson. Seems like the evolution has ended. Now, I wonder what abilities it had inherited from me? Its appearance has become very human-like. Seems like the body was perfected along with the evolution. And what a beautiful body it had become. But, the expression that was hidden by the mask was not of a sympathetic being, but a doll of destruction. Only death would await those who have seen his expression. To all, other than the master, of course. Beretta stood up, and once again bowed deeply before me. My great master. I am the Archdoll Beretta, who lives and breathes to fulfill your will. And, after bowing again, he turned to Ramiris. As commanded by my master, I shall protect thee, he declared. Ramiris, as if overwhelmed by his presence, nodded timidly. Ah, yeah. I'll be in your care. Do protect us. After regaining her composure, she said. So, yeah? I guess that's a good enough substitute for the golem. At least twice as strong. This much should satisfy Ramiris' request. But it seems I have gotten carried away and used more demonic steel than I had intended. When making it, I kept debating about this and that, and ended up overusing the ingredients. So remember, I went through the trouble to make you, so you better be useful. The children have fallen asleep while I was making the doll. Their lives that were filled with tension and fear till now have suddenly become relaxed. They held well up until now, and can finally relax. So, they are sleeping happily, using Ranga as a pillow. And if I think about it, though I don't need sleep, the children certainly do. As they say, you sleep well, you grow well. So let's wait until the children wake up. Until they do, I'll also rest up. Thus, after creating a guardian for the fairies, we left the spiritual dwelling behind. The children have obtained a spirit, their bodies have stabilized, all problems solved. Or so I thought. As per Yuuki's request, 3 months have passed. I have many times discussed the children's future with him. We have considered having Tempest take custody of them, but figured they need a better learning environment. Besides, they are currently in a school with many excellent lecturers. It's also a place where they can study magic. Moreover, they themselves have chosen to study here. They had thought that I'd be staying with them, so they cried when I told them about my departure. I'll come visit you for graduation, I promised them. Of course, we'll throw a party. Though living next to the church may restrict their freedom, as they are now, they'll easily deceive the church. The magical power no longer leaks, and has stabilized around normal levels. Nor will people with analyzing abilities be able to discover them. I had asked Yuuki about that once. At least, 3 years from now, when they think the children dead and buried, they should be safe. If they stay patient for 3 years they'll be able to depart on their own. For now, as long as they cover their faces with a mask, there shouldn't be any problems. Yuuki has many times asked me how I had saved them, but I decided not to tell him. To him, the children seem as nothing more than normal civilians. And that's as it should be. Their power is currently being balanced by spiritual energy. When that balance is out, they might acquire their own unique skill. Unless other problems appear, they probably don't need to know about that. Besides, they might not even acquire one. So I didn't tell the kids about this. Ending the matter with the children thus, I spent the rest of the time having fun. Having a picnic for example, or hanging around with the 3 idiots. My sales are also going well, and when I had time I visited Meyer Miles. In the middle of the 2nd month here, he warmly welcomed me. Thanks to my evolved ability spatial travel I can immediately transfer to a place I had visited before. It is far faster than Shadow Step. And using the gold I received from him, I bought some magic stones from Yuuki. Thus, our research will see some real progress soon. So doing this and that, the 3 months in the royal capital passed. On the day I set off for home, I left the crying children and the royal capital behind. It felt short, but I lived quite a while in the human city. Though the incident with the children was troublesome, I was able to bond with them as a result. I had never thought that I, who had become a slime, could befriend children like them. And I made a fortune with the sales. I had once returned to the city to see lots of adventurers crowding our streets. So everything is going well. No, everything was going too well. In this world, jealousy and envy, the feelings of a loser, creep into one's heart when you least expect it. I had planned to live without ever feeling such emotions. However, if you make a mistake in the data, you will inevitably come to a wrong conclusion. A's great sage says, if the question is wrong, the answer will also be wrong. If Tempest is prospering, there are people who can make money off of it failing. I had thought that I understood that fact, but hardly did I know how much I underestimated them. And the result? I have been searching for you, Rimuru-san. When I had left the royal capital, a voice called out to me. One of the people working for Yamu, the devil Grusius. He was struggling to catch his breath, having run all the way here non-stop. By the looks of it, something has happened. What's wrong? To my question. The Pharma's kingdom has sent troops towards Tempest. The worst-case scenario unfolded before me. Happy events are often accompanied by terrible ones, is that it? Even so, this is the worst possible scenario. I had immediately decided to return to Tempest. Will you come with me? When I asked, as if something had happened to Yuma's group, Grusius gladly took me up on the offer. I began rapid transfer. Thus, together with Grusius, we tried transferring to Tempest. Since being born into this world as a slime, I have lived as I had always wanted. I have met and spoken with some world travelers. While I was busy fulfilling trivial desire, a great storm loomed over my city. So even though I succeeded, I had also failed. As a civilian that I was, I hardly had any practice in predicting the political machinations of countries, hence the result. The gears of fate spun nefariously, leading me closer to my fate. The era of peace has now passed, and the time of war has begun. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tensei Shitara Slime.Token, WN. Chapter 65, The Prelude to Disaster. Editor's Corner, Cast, Yuuka, Smoggy, an English clown and a French Pierrot. It is a calm afternoon, there is a slight breeze accompanied by the scent of flowers drifting through the air. The circus was having a tea party in the middle of a field, there was also a cake as dessert. Everyone was enjoying themselves, chatting and discussing circusy stuff. When suddenly a seemingly out-of-place bear spoke up. Smoggy, hey Yuuka-san, I've been wondering for a while now, doesn't Clown-sama and Pierrot-chan look the same? How do you tell them apart? Yuuka, Well, you see the one who is constantly sipping on tea? That's Clown-san-chan, the one carrying a baguette around is Pierrot-chan. Smoggy, she doesn't have a baguette nor is she sipping on tea right now though. Isn't the one who is constantly sipping on tea you? You can't tell them apart either, right? Yuuka, and no idea what you're talking about, I can tell them apart just fine. Bibaka. 065 The Prelude to Disaster. King Edo Marisu of Pharma's kingdom frowned as he received his report. There have been changes in the trade status quo surrounding the Pharma's kingdom. Originally, the profits and losses of trade will take up to a year or even longer before it's certain, but this time the changes are much too abrupt. Due to its location, the Pharma's kingdom can be considered as the main trading partner of the Dwarven kingdom. Without the need to traverse hazardous terrain, it is advantageous for direct transactions. Therefore, a great deal of profit was earned by selling the imported goods after implementing high taxes. But, simply selling goods to foreign kingdoms is hardly enough to be satisfied about. If the imported goods were to be solely sold within the country, withholding foreign trades, that would further increase profits, and such a decision was made after listening to the advice of the Minister of Economical Affairs. As expected, at first there was an increase in the number of adventurers into the country plus the sales and revenues also increased. But in a month, sales started to show signs of recession, and an investigation of the cause was immediately ordered. The damages are not only limited to imported goods. Foreign merchants who came to buy goods and adventurers who came to stay disappeared altogether. Adventurers staying in the city affect the revenues of shops and inns, making this situation something that cannot be ignored. This isn't a problem one can afford to simply wait and see. When their report was brought forth, it was a shocking one. It seems like a new city has appeared in the Great Jura Forest. In addition, it's inhabited by monsters. And that's the situation. This is simply absurd. When Feldera disappeared, the spike in monster activity had been a cause for concern. Many monsters live in the Great Jura Forest. Comparatively, the threat level of the monsters have been relatively low, even though there are monsters that exceed B rank amongst them. Making a town in such a dangerous place, how much combat force is required? Even defending the surrounding villages and towns within the monster habitats requires a lot of tax money invested into it. Moreover, monsters living in a town is an unprecedented phenomenon. This is a phenomenon of monsters founding a country. Who could possibly believe this? However, there were reports of goblin tribes evolving into a human-like physique, figures that looked like orcs, and whatnots. In the report, they've all evolved into the species called hobgoblins. By now, the goblins are already quite close to humans, even engaging in business while speaking the human language. That's not all, there are also orcs and high orcs, with knowledge and technique of organizing work core to establish and maintain roads. This is an absurd story no matter how one thinks about it. How many years would it take even for a single individual to evolve? Of course, due to the magnitude of the subject, this is something that must be dealt with immediately. News about an entire group evolving, this is something that is unheard of for centuries. Of course, I didn't doubt that the spies would lie. But that's not the problem here. The main issue is a city has appeared out of nowhere. Directly through the Great Jura Forest, with a route directly connecting the Dwarven Kingdom and the small country Burmund is formed. Moreover, the safety of the trade route is guaranteed. This is something that can't be neglected. After all, if this route is permitted, the geological advantage the Farmers' Kingdom possessed is lost. For the Farmers' Kingdom, which mainly relies on trade for income, this is a matter of life and death. Due to the neighboring Dwarven Kingdom being an excellent industrial kingdom, the local level of industry is low. There are no local specialties, and there aren't any resources able to be processed. The local agriculture is at a level when the people wouldn't starve, but the tax gained wouldn't be enough to cover the national spending. Tourism and trade being its main pillars, it's a country where tariffs are high. Until now, thanks to threat Feldera posed, the trade route through the Farmers' Kingdom had made it prosper. The disappearance of Feldera after 300 years was not predicted. Thus, measures for the future as a country haven't been well looked into yet. Now then, what happens now? There isn't anyone who could answer the king. Currently, in a place where an emergency meeting conference commenced, similar reports are announced to each member. The people gathered here are all upper-class nobles involved in the management of the state, whose wealth is deeply rooted to the central. Everyone present knew more than anyone that if the kingdom couldn't secure the benefits of trading with the Dwarven Kingdom, the national power of the kingdom will fall. Although no one answered, there's an answer. However, whoever says it will have to burden all the responsibility. Adding that to the equation, this isn't something that could be said. Let's invade and destroy the city. Those are the words. Even with the collective effort of the country, the most number of troops that can be mobilized is on a scale of about 100,000 people. However, against an evolved monster, an ordinary soldier is useless. A trained knight or a mercenary will be necessary. This isn't a war between humans. If you want to mobilize to defeat the opponent, this isn't something amateurs can handle. All they want is to avoid increasing the amount of people who will die in vain. So out of the 100,000 soldiers, those with actual combat experiences via skirmishes number about 20,000. Mercenaries make up the majority of that number. The knight belonging to this country is 10,000 at most. This number includes all of the knights in the region. When it comes to those who will actually rally to the king's orders are 5,000 at most. The numbers in the monster's country seem to amount to around 10,000, but there might be some away doing construction. Dramatic irony, there's around 165,000. Max rest default. In addition, if you consider a 1 vs 1 battle scenario, you'll need to factor in the quality of equipment. In addition, you should also consider the female fighting force as well. With that said, subduing the monsters with only regional knights will be difficult. For a decisive victory, at least 10,000 experienced soldiers must be prepared. In this place, whoever suggests the attack will have to carry the burden of the fund should the combat forces be insufficient. No one wants to miss out on the benefits, but carrying the burden of the losses is also undesirable. The people gathered here all had that mindset. The king could easily decipher the thoughts of the upper-class nobles. Factors that will secure victory are combat forces and war funds. In addition, the adventurers staying in the monster's city are something that can't be neglected. He'll need to cooperate with a friend to work this out. No one is going to support them if there aren't any benefits. However, what if it's assumed there are benefits? After eliminating the monsters in the city, and recognizing their right to govern the city, there wouldn't be any sense of unethicality ruling over the monsters. Monster slavery isn't uncommon. Eradicating the problematic city and enslaving the surviving monsters. In addition, the city can be incorporated into the country's territory. In doing so, the Pharma's kingdom will obtain new land, and they might even obtain the blessings of the Great Jura Forest. Adding to that, the defenses can also be left to the monsters. The council doesn't allow human slavery, but they wouldn't complain if they're monsters. There's also the income to be earned from opening up new trade routes, it's chock full of good benefits. Above all, there was something that fascinated the king. It is silk, a sample of it was obtained from the town, and he had never felt anything like it before. Comparing it to magic fiber or hemp cloths is a presumptuous act. Analysis results show that it appears to be a fabric woven from the cocoons of hell moths. Hell moths are extremely dangerous monsters, even though the materials aren't limited to the cocoon, however. In reality, no one could believe there being an even better fabric than the one at hand. With whatever means necessary, the manufacturing method must be obtained. With the manufacturing method, this could be the country's specialty. This and that, if the city was to be conquered, those benefits will be obtainable. Involuntarily, it's likely the desperation of the king has distorted his face with desire. The problem is the subjugation itself. Regarding this matter, the king had a plan. He had already contacted Cardinal Nicholas Spertus of the church previously. An urgent emergency magic letter was sent via magic communication between countries. The contents of the letter was regarding the monster country. The letter was written meticulously in hopes of not causing trouble to the church and persuading them to take care of the problem. Even King Edomarisu is acquainted to Cardinal Nicholas. He is a shrewd man who would do anything that would give him profits as long as it doesn't depreciate the church. Such a man usually thinks for his own benefits. Thinking from his perspective is natural. In the letter, it was also written that for any further consultation would require sending messengers. It appears he may be a monster expert. The king couldn't hide his surprise. Actually, the church wouldn't move as long as it's not a big threat. When you think about it, whether it is conceivable for a monster town to be recognized as a threat, or... At that point, King Edomarisu thought about everything. The church's raison d'etre is the belief that humans and monsters don't get along well. With assent, the plans for how to proceed has been thought up. For the church, would there be enough justification to subjugate monsters that do no harm to humans? However, what if there is a nation that's asking for help? They would be able to launch a punitive force in a triumphant manner. I see, so that was the aim of Cardinal Nicholas, and so, King Edomarisu was convinced. If the church can compensate for the lack of manpower in his own country, this can be a winning battle. Moreover, with the support of the church, this could be a holy war. I knew it. After reading chapter 59, I knew this would happen. Holy my arse. Ed, predictions by a bear. Next time don't get an octopus to predict the results of the World Cup, get a bear instead. And by leading this war, and gaining the honor of leading the holy war to victory, this is something I must grasp. By doing so, I can secure my foundations, and also suppress the positions of the upper-class nobles. However, it is vital that there be a way to make it inexcusable for me to lead this strategy. This meeting is a farce for that. Looking the upper nobles one more time, confirming that none of they are trying to speak up. Now, I was able to make myself the heir to go along with this. I'll strike when the time is right. Although I wanted to ask each lord, if the burden is too much. And I said that as if I wanted to discontinue my words. Your Majesty, pardon me for my rudeness. It seems the monster town has started business with the adventurers. And supporting this from the shadows is the Burman Kingdom. If that's the case, if we were to attack the city, the neighboring countries will not look kindly upon us. That's right, moreover, they have the support of the dwarf blacksmiths, and are now polishing their own technology. If we rallied our troops, the eyes of the neighboring countries will also be watching. Two nobles stated their objections. Marquis Muller of the Farmer's Kingdom is a part of the noble faction with Earl Herman as his follower. The king wanted to click his tongue, but he endures. Who, then what do you propose we do? Thus, I asked the two men. Even with the other countries watching, when we got the church's backing, I can come out with a bang. However, if I tell them that here, the benefit-seeking nobles will be interested in the subjugation and will strive to lead. That town will be under the direct jurisdiction of the king. The wealth that will be generated in there's no way he's going to divide it up with the nobles. The two people who were asked looked at each other. Why don't we send a messenger? If we communicate with that city, the menace of the monsters will recede. Certainly, we can have benefits from short-term trades. Then, we gain tax from defending tourist locations when people from other countries come along for tourism. In addition, if the safety is even more appealed, trade with the Dwarven Kingdom will become even more prosperous. Marquis Muller, as the representative, replied. Earl Herman also nodded in response, to show his support. Certainly, there is some truth. When Felderer disappeared, we can just take over the defenses like what we've done at home. This is a welcoming idea, there's no reason to crush it. But, if they're building trade routes, the fact they snatched the interest of our country is a different story. Marcus Muller and Earl Herman has concerns about the forest defenses since their territory is bordering the forest. In addition, Marquis Muller's territory is also bordering Burmund, so they have a good relationship. With these reasons, that's probably why they were against the monster subjugation. Although, he might have received bribes from Burmund. However, one way or another, the decision was made. Since he's already the king, the future is in his hands. This had already filled his head with fame and fortune. I understand your reasons. However, I ask you, can you trust a monster? In the future, if the monsters suddenly attacked, who will take responsibility? Will you, perhaps, take responsibility? Your dear people, their lives and properties, will you protect them all? The other party is a monster. They aren't meant to coexist with us humans whose thoughts they can't comprehend. Think about it hard, has your thoughtlessness passed? Such was asked with the intent to intimidate with oppression. I asked the two men, but their faces simply paled, being unable to reply. That's natural. They are only humans, they can only trust each other that much as partners. The king of the other party could be a fake, signing a contract with a body double would be a bad decision. If I trust them, once everything is over there'll be no going back. If I sympathize with the monsters, I would be on edge about what might happen afterwards. I knew from reading the report that the representative was a good-natured fellow, but it doesn't seem like it's listed anywhere in the reports. A little trick was used to lure out any opposition. Even if someone opposes, everything's already decided. Making sure there aren't any more oppositions, the king makes his move. Thus, in the name of the Farmer's Kingdom, in order to subjugate the monster city known as Tempest, an army will be raised. After the upper-class nobles have left, the varlet returned accompanied by a man. The man's name, Raihumi. It was the messenger whom Cardinal Nicholas sent. As expected, you have arrived, Messenger Dono. Today, we have decided to raise an army. That's very good. Cardinal will also be pleased. There were some nobles who voiced their opposition, however they were quelled in the end. This was to be expected. However, someone willing to protect the monsters, this is unexpected enough. Will you take care of such a person? No, and I don't have the power for such a thing. After greeting one another, the king brought up the main topic. Unexpectedly, the messenger had a pair of profound pupils that are like a bottomless pit. Glimpses of lunacy and an indescribable chill can be felt when one looks him in the eye. As to raising the army of the Farmer's Kingdom, the church promised to see to reinforcement and aid. That was all that was exchanged with the messenger. The messenger accepted this as a formal request. The church will dispatch troops dedicated to monster subjugation. In term of battle prowess, there were 3,000 professional monster exterminators. In addition, they will also make a special exception and send out 1,000 knights associated with the church. The church knights will have magic swords as standard equipment, especially effective against monsters. There were also many excellent individuals amongst the anti-monster units sent to assist. Even evolved monster groups will be reduced to nothing but a disorderly mob under their might. Although their numbers are similar, the difference in quality is like a free player compared to a paid player. Ed was about to put console compared to PC but realized I would be pelted to death. Tien, you must be quite the gamer despite your elegant appearance, Yuuka-san. King Edo Marisuking is relieved to have such strong combat forces. There were 5,000 of his own knights, and 4,000 from the church alongside them. Perhaps, the mercenaries employed will not be below 3,000. Totaling the numbers, soldiers specialized in combat has become equal or more than 12,000. If you include in the females and the monster soldiers, there's approximately 10,000 more. Now then, when this demon subjugation crusade is all over, he can probably have his way with his fame as the hero king. He will probably need to increase the donations sent to the church, but it's a cheap price considering the profits he will soon have at hand. The secret conversion between the king and the messenger continued onwards extensively. Due to the flames of jealousy, his ambitions, and desires, the brakes on his greed has ceased to work. A great evil will soon envelop Tempest. Note, if you are wondering why the females are not counted in the combat force, I believe they are there to raise morale, wink wink. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tensei Shitara Slime Talken, WN. Chapter 66, Chance Meeting. 066. Chance Meeting. After sending Grusius back to Tempest, I tried to return myself but the skill wouldn't activate. What's going on? Grusius did just disappear in front of me a second ago, though. These questions. Announcement. You are inside a wide-range barrier. Transfer skills are sealed. Were answered by the Great Sage. What? I'm getting a bad feeling about this. A feeling of impending doom that I have never felt before. When Milim invaded, I did not feel any killing intent from her, so I was not that worried. But this time, all my senses are sounding the alarm. Have I fallen into a trap? I tried calling for Ranga from within my shadow, but he did not respond. Seems like this barrier has completely isolated me from the outside world. So it seems that I can neither call for aid nor escape. The feeling of dread led to me to set up some things as insurance. At least I can still use my skills. Announcement. You are inside a wide-range barrier. All magic energy manipulation abilities have been sealed. What? That basically includes every type of magic that I use, even flame and lightning abilities have been sealed. Moreover, steel thread and thread manipulation abilities have also been sealed. So instead of thinking that I wandered into somebody's hunting ground, I am the one who is being hunted? They permitted Grusius' departure in order not to fight both of us at once. Had I decided to leave first, though, they might not have waited. In that case, they can probably sense the flow of my magic. What could they be planning? I take stance in response to a relentless killing intent, and wait for the enemy to appear. I am of course trying to dispel the barrier, but to do that I need the Great Sage to analyze it first. However, these long-range barriers require more time to be analyzed. In other words, I'm in a pinch. This was the first time I felt my heart beat faster out of anxiety. It was anxiety that I have never felt since coming into the world. That could have been the result of me changing into the slime, but chances are, it's mostly due to the predictive abilities of the Great Sage. Before I undertake anything, it can estimate the chances of me succeeding. Which is why I have been able to face strong opponents fearlessly. Though they were strong, I could predict the outcome. On the other hand, even facing certain defeat, I did not feel anxious. If I can't win, I should just run away. If I can't run away, let's at least punch them once. But none of that mattered in this case. Here, without knowing my opponent's strength, I cannot predict the outcome. However, I do feel their killing intent. I don't know whether I can win, and I cannot run away. Nor do I know how many enemies I am facing. A few humans would be needed to set up a barrier this large. However, heat perception is detecting only a single body approaching, magic perception is not responding. So if I turned into a slime, I would be essentially blind. In other words, I have lost that amazing perceptive ability and cannot view the entire battlefield at once. The moment I was caught in this barrier, my chances of winning have fallen significantly. However, to go out of one's way to seal an opponent's abilities. So it's possible to fight like this. Moreover, the enemy doesn't even realize that they have been separated from the outside world. Clearly the work of someone who professionally hunts monsters. Chances are, the barrier is at least 4 kilometers wide. Its boundary is completely outside of my sight. Their meticulousness is terrifying. Just who would do this, and why are they hunting me? When I thought that. Pleased to meet you, should I say? Though I won't know you for long. A single person walking towards me threw such words at me. I thought so for a while now, but I feel like I've seen her somewhere. A nostalgic feeling when looking at her. She has beautiful, glossy black hair at about shoulder height, with the left side swept back and the right almost covering her eye. She wears small round glasses, which could be described as her defining characteristic. I wonder if she wears them out of fashion, since her eyes don't seem particularly bad. She wears dark clothing that's easy to move around. However, by the quality of it, the clothing is clearly made for ceremonial occasions. Rather than a skirt, she wears pants. Her body is bound by a robe, the kind the clergy wear, dyed black. Though I am a fan of black myself, hers is an unnatural fascination with the color. Her eyes, cold and cruel, display profound wisdom. Other than the cold glare, she can only be described as beautiful. Pleased to meet you, but do you have some business with me? My name is Rimuru, could there be some misunderstanding here? It's probably pointless, but no harm in trying. She clearly has targeted me. There's no way she made a mistake. But even so, I'd rather not get killed because of a misunderstanding. Of course not, there is no mistake here. Master of the Monsters City. You know, it's a bother. So I decided to crush it. Which is why your return would be a great inconvenience. You understand, don't you? Without any hesitation and as if bored, she explained herself. Ah, I see. Isn't something I can just say here. But how does she know that I rule over Tempest? Why do you call me a monster, and some monsters city lord? I'm just a normal adventurer, can't you see? Huh? Are you playing dumb? Well, it's no use. I have my sources. I won't tell you who, of course, but this much I'm certain about. There are many eyes in the royal capital. You should be more prudent with your secrets. An informant, she says? I have no idea who it could be. I would have noticed if I were being followed and I was careful with my contacts. I don't get it. Well, I do understand that she's out to kill me, though. This is really bad. She is armed with a rapier hanging on her hip. She isn't wearing armor and appears rather carefree. I can't feel the presence of anyone else around, seems like the people who created the barrier will not be joining the fight. They planned a certain kill trap but only sent one person? Or does that mean that she's simply that powerful? But this is not the time to be pondering these things. Tempest might be getting attacked this very moment. After raising an army, it would take them about a week to reach the city. How many days did it take Grusius to travel from Pharma's kingdom to Ingrasia kingdom? If he was running without rest, I'd say about 3 days. The plan was for me to return immediately, but, as things stand, I can only lament my ignorance. All I know is that I don't have the time to fool around. Seems that even if I claimed that you've got the wrong person you won't trust me, will you? Nope. After all, I've heard that the master of the monsters is named Rimuru. Ah, is that so? She got me. To think that she has even heard of my name. Can we start now? I'd prefer not to, but can I at least hear your name? I said to her, who was drawing her rapier. The beauty tilted her neck, and said. I haven't told you, huh? Didn't really care, so I forgot. In that case, one more time. I am the Emperor's personal Knights Battalion, Knights Captain. Sakaguchi Hinata is the name. Our acquaintanceship shall be short, and not a pleasant one. She drew the rapier. 7 jewels adorned the hilt of her silver blade. Crimson magic enveloped it. A magic sword, it seems. But to think that she is Sakaguchi Hinata. I heard that she was the ultimate pragmatist who doesn't like to follow through. That seems to be a misconception. She learned about me, and everything regarding my city. But, more importantly, I still have to thank her for having messed with the kids. Thank goodness she's intending to fight. I can mercilessly crush her. But just for the sake of time, if I can negotiate out of this, I will. So while drawing my sword. Hinata, you say? Wait a second, I've been meaning to talk to you. I don't know what a monster could possibly mean to tell me, but I'm not planning to listen. Wait, I said. You're Japanese, and so am I. Shizu-san has asked me to look. I know. That you killed Shizu-sensei. So this is revenge. Besides, a monster being a Japanese? What a ridiculous thing you say, don't try to make me laugh. Doesn't seem like she'll believe me. Right. I thought of a way and... I've been telling you, I'm Japanese. I died over there and reincarnated as a slime in this world. I said, in Japanese. Surprise colored her face. How skillful, where have you learned those words? But, that's not how this works. The chance of that occurring is astronomically low. Moreover, the chance that such a person is talking to me right now on top of that makes it impossible. In other words, there's no need to even consider your words. She completely disregards anything I'll say. I had thought she may believe if a monster suddenly starts speaking Japanese, but... So you are planning to fight no matter what, huh? Well, then let me pay you back for messing with the kids. And besides, do you think that you'll be enough to defeat me? I declared. Even if she is a world traveler, I possess the power rivaling demon lords. No matter how far my abilities have been restricted, I can hardly imagine losing to her. Is what I thought, but... What kids are you talking about? Besides, I'm surprised. Are you honestly thinking that you can win against me in this barrier? She smiled in amusement and whispered the response. In the next moment, 7 rainbow-colored lights shot out from her sword. A series of high-speed thrusts. The after-image matches the color of the jewels? I tried to avoid it, but my body felt heavy. Seriously. Even physical abilities are restricted. In spite of my attempts, I was hit thrice. A burning pain ran through my body. Pain? I felt something I should be resistant to. Not all of them hit, I see. I am impressed by your evasive abilities. I wonder how far you can go. Without giving me a second to rest, she resumed her onslaught. I tried blocking the hits with my sword. But as if her thrusts were passing through the sword, I was hit again. Feeling imminent danger, I jumped away from her. Thus, I was hit 4 times. Somehow, I feel that taking any more hits is dangerous. Oh, have you noticed this skill's powers? There have been plenty of fools who have perished without offering even a hint of resistance. Seems like you're a bit brighter than the rest. With a small nod, she complimented me. Not that it makes me happy. This skill probably transmits pain not to the nerves, but directly to the soul. So there's no way to guard against it. The fact that there is not a single wound on my body is proof. I had the great sage run some predictions based on my observations. It seems that I will die if I get hit thrice more. Not the death of the flesh but of the soul itself. What an absurd skill. But I can't be certain whether this is a skill or an ability of the magic sword. Honestly, seems like I was underestimating my opponent too much. Sakaguchi Hinata. She definitely has a unique skill. On top of not knowing what it is, the fact that my abilities are sealed put me at a great disadvantage in this fight. In fact, I probably should have attempted escaping since the moment I found out I was trapped inside the barrier. Though whether I could escape or not, I'm constantly a step behind. From what I tried out, neither black flame, black lightning, nor barrier can be used. Moreover, since cloning devil transformation, and fire change are also magic energy manipulation abilities, I can't even transform. All my certain wind skills having been sealed without even having a chance to put them to use. Not that I am completely defenseless, though. Famu. What are you planning, I wonder? It's useless, you know? A-rank monsters trapped in the holy barrier cannot live for long. C-rank monsters are immediately purified. Don't you understand? The barrier purifies magical energy itself. Therefore, high-level monsters like you lose most of your power and cannot fight as you normally would. It is the strongest barrier the church has against you monsters. Normally, it is used for disaster class A rank monsters and above. Oh, and you said that I wouldn't be enough to kill you, but there was hardly a need for me to come out. It's overkill. But, I guess I did want to try talking to you once. Since you killed Shizu-sensei. Perhaps not revenge, but she would have wanted me to kill you, no. I did technically kill Shizu-san, but that was... Doesn't matter. She was the only person who was nice to me in the whole world. And now she is gone. Not a feeling I myself understand. She murmured and looked at me. Her eyes simply declare me as her prey. After showing such an overwhelming difference, she stands motionless. Her confidence probably comes from the power she has just displayed. And, if I trust what she is saying, my chances of victory inside the barrier are next to none. If I don't dispel it, I will certainly lose. But, she believes me to be Shizu-san's nemesis? That I don't get. Since a while ago, something about her conversation seems off. But there's no time for that. If anything, I mostly worry about. This barrier can only be created by the Holy Knights. So don't worry. The ones sent to your city cannot use it. But, creating a weak barrier is part of our curriculum, so they will create a weak one. Before long, you'll lose a place to return to, you see? Not that you'll be able to return. As I thought, if they use such a barrier to attack Tempest, my friends will be in danger. They are an opponent we must immediately crush. But how unexpectedly annoying they are. My only option is to use attacks that don't use magical energy. That is, the sword and unique skills. Her sword hand is superior to mine. My physical strength is slowly falling, that much is true, but she hasn't shown her true skill yet either. I don't want to believe it, but I feel the same pressure from her that I do from Hakura. Which is why I have to depend on unique skills to defeat her. That wasn't something I wanted to reveal. I am hesitant to use it, but I have no choice. First, I raised my abilities using fighting spirit technique. Moreover, I activated Herculean strength. As expected, I can use skills that don't rely on magical energy. Isn't it too early to think that you have won? I readied my sword and went on the offensive. Thanks to Hakura's guidance, I have gotten rather good with the sword. Maybe out of surprise, but Hinata went on the defense. No, she's just being careful. Her eyes. They are the eyes of a chef looking at a fish on the cutting board. That's no surprise, she is analyzing my attacks and looking for a weakness. Nor is that pride, she looks uninterested, as if doing her job. Nor were her previous words fueled by pride, but by raw calculation. That sending her against me as overkill is mere truth to her. She was not looking down on me in the slightest. Even now, as she observes my movements, she is making predictions. To my superior speed she is offering the perfect response. This feels as if I were fighting the great sage instead of her. When she received a hit from the sword strengthened by Herculean strength I understood the overwhelming difference between us. Though the tip of the sword has almost reached the speed of sound, she has yet to be wounded. She is able to perfectly read my attacks. And in order to do that, you'd have to be as proficient as Hakura. The second I lost my balance, she landed 2 more hits with deadly precision. Oh? Is this the end? But, yeah. Being able to move that well in this barrier is commendable. Honestly, I looked down on you. But even now, you can't win against me. You've held up well, until now, that is. You have already received 6 hits. The special ability of the sword, Dead End Rainbow, bestows certain death upon an opponent it has struck 7 times. There was no need to teach you this, but you wouldn't be able to pass on without knowing what killed you, would you? She said. The truth as she saw it. And make no mistake, that's is the truth since I saw it as well. But, though she masquerades it as an act of kindness, she really intends to instill fear in me and push me into making a mistake. She is perfectly prudent. Meaning there is no other reason for her to teach me this. Even with my abilities sealed I had thought I would manage somehow, but she's the worst opponent for me. An opponent who knows neither pride nor negligence. One that would use her best hand to win. And, she kept analyzing my abilities while fighting, yet being so sure of her victory, she has yet to neglect to continue analyzing. The situation was simply that hopeless. Never had I thought I'd face such a hopeless situation. Even with the limitless Milim I could imagine a thing or two to do. Not that I'd win, of course. Then I'll continue this pointless struggle. I am not so obedient that I'd just roll over and die when asked. I respond, and try something I have yet to use. That is, spirit summoning. Spirits are something other than magical energy. While I cannot summon a spirit without making a contract, I can call forth the one resting inside me. Solution. The high spirit Ifrit has been separated from the shapeshifter skill. Seems like it was a success. I could allow this spirit's skills to change, resulting in various types of magical abilities, but not this time. The reason is, I fear it won't reach her. Unfortunately, she is not the type of an opponent to fall for petty tricks. If I don't go all out in one shot, I cannot win. Serve thy purpose, fire spirit Ifrit. At my call, the Ifrit materialized. A magical energy link was established between the Ifrit and I, resulting in magical energy flowing from me to him. Thus, my energy was finally put into some use. However, that was not the reason why I called him out. Ifrit began his attack. Thus, she should be too occupied to attack me. As expected, she is busy fighting with the Ifrit. Thus, I could launch some attacks on her. Oh? To even be able to summon high-level spirits, how unexpected, but, that's not enough to defeat me. She declared facing me, interrupting my attack. Ifrit is a high-ranking spirit. Even if we are inside the holy barrier, spirits are natural energy and are unaffected. Since this is a barrier of holy power. Even if that was not the case, Ifrit, who surpasses a rank, would not be defeated by it. However, by the looks of it, Ifrit is looking back, crouching. As if he were defying my orders. You, what did you do? I'll answer if you tell me what you were planning to do. The air tensed between us. Return, Ifrit. Hearing that call, Ifrit disappeared, and returned back inside of me. Solution. Ifrit was subjected to a forced control ability. The opponent probably attempted to steal Ifrit away. Forced control ability? So her power is to take away. This world traveler Sakaguchi Hinata is a monster far exceeding my predictions. I was blinded by the barrier, thinking that it was the reason for the close battle, but that was a mistake. In fact, the barrier is merely there to make me believe that and let my guard down. Did I really believe I could defeat her? A lovely smile appears on her face. What a terrifying enemy she is. She has yet to use all her strength, that much I am sure of. You tried to snatch Ifrit away, huh? Oh? How did you know? Since you found out, I'll let you know. You're right. It's thanks to my unique skill usurper. Unique skill usurper, she says. The ability to take away the strength of one's enemies and their spirits. Similar to my predator. But she does so without having to analyze the abilities, so it's more battle-oriented. I see. So fighting, world travelers, will inevitably lead to a clash between unique abilities, huh? It's guaranteed for summoned ones, but seems like world travelers can also acquire one. Actually, no, I should expect the most powerful individuals in this world to possess a unique skill. The fact that I didn't consider that before only shows my immaturity. I see, that's why Hinata has been observing me the whole time. A textbook fighting method. Just shows how much more fighting experience she has. While I am unsure whether her ability is superior to mine, her use of it probably is. I can't win without betting my very existence here. However, I will lose after taking one more hit. She even so easily crushed my Ifrit trump card, so I have only one thing left to do. It's not something I want to use, but I have no choice here. I have no idea what will happen as a result, or whether it will reach the barrier. But I have to try. Hinata, we have yet many things to discuss, but I don't have enough time. I'm sorry, but we'll have to settle this next time. Still haven't given up? Well, be my guest. Rest easy. The last attack will be on a completely different level of pain than the rest. She looked at me one last time. Oi, I leave the rest to you, great sage. Understood. Order has been received. After confirming the situation, I will execute command. I am impaled by last attack. Die. Dead End Rainbow. Awaken Kama Gluttony. After shouting that order, my consciousness fell into seemingly endless darkness. As if falling asleep, I fell unconscious. At the same moment as the rapier pierced Rimuru's flesh, Gluttony awakened on command. The awakened demon stared at the rapier stuck in his flesh, and began to change. Hinata quickly noticed Rimuru's change and was on her guard. She felt the sword grow heavy in her hand. For some reason, she decided to let it go. Little did she know that this decision saved her life. A pale blue light enveloped the rapier down to the hilt. In front of her eyes, Rimuru began to change, but collapsed without taking a form. After all, the barrier prevented any kind of change caused by magic manipulation. Transformation was included in that list. But, that being didn't care, it moved towards her formless, while swallowing everything in its wake. Dangerous. Hinata felt. It's hard to believe, but it's absorbing the very environment. Had she been a second late releasing that sword, she would have been swallowed whole already. But it kept targeting Hinata, moving on sound, heat, and smell alone. Unbelievable. She murmured. In the first place, Dead End Rainbow is as advertised, it destroys the opponent's soul after 7 hits. Nonetheless, this being will not die, as it does not have a soul. Since coming to this world, she has discerned the 3 layers of souls. The soul, the source of power for humans and monsters. Cloaking themselves in their souls, the most brittle existence, the astral bodies. Establishing themselves in power, spiritual bodies. Those who have a direct connection to this world, material bodies. The soul is the entity itself, there is no being outside of it. Any kind of consideration requires the presence of an astral body. Of course, should it be based on astral body alone, the being will dissipate into thin air. So a medium to record the memories is needed, spiritual body. However, spiritual body preserves kind of like virtual memory, hence cannot serve as a permanent medium. Hence the flesh. So for those with tempered souls, should they even sustain brain damage, recovery of certain memories becomes possible. And, there are monsters who live with only a soul. That kind of being, however, is inferior to the rest. But, even if it is but a soul, should it obtain some level of intelligence, it will be recognized as a monster. These are what the world knows as the 4 dragons, the highest form of being. But, even this special race requires a soul. So what is happening before her now completely escapes her understanding. For the first time ever, Hinata felt anxiety. The only thing she could think of. Would this no longer be a life form? At the very least, it has certainly exceeded the definition of life of this world. Yet before her eyes, it continuously tried to take shape. Right now, it looked like a slime. No, Hinata thought, it was a slime to begin with. What was now before her was far more sinister, devouring all life in sight. It wasn't something she could quickly defeat. But that doesn't mean it wasn't something she couldn't defeat. Her weapon, however, crumbling before her eyes. Astral Bind. She took out an amulet from her bag, and erected another barrier with it. One that binds not the flesh, but every level of one's soul. However, the slime continued to move. As I thought. Thus, Hinata concluded that the slime before her was but Rimuru's empty husk. The result of the last works Rimuru called out, gluttony, was it? Probably, though his soul was destroyed, he activated some kind of program to defeat his opponent. In that case, this is simple. If it doesn't have a soul, it's hardly an enemy. All you need to do is stop the body from moving. Of course, she still needed to watch out for getting caught and devoured by this half-baked thing. Oh my! You are a pain even after death. I hate you. But, if I don't erase what you have become, I fear you'll wreak havoc upon the world. She grumbled to herself, while coming up with a plan. The point was to stop its movements. Having so decided, Hinata started to summon spirits. The myriad of spirits attacked the slime as a flood. Normally, she'd summon a demon, but that wouldn't be possible within the holy barrier. So while she did feel bad for the spirits, they'd have to go out and die. While confirming that the spirits have occupied the slime, Hinata began to chant a grand spell. Thanks to her ability mathematician, she can normally ignore the chant, but this time was different. The magic that she could use within the barrier belonged to incantation and spirit magic, as these do not rely directly on magical energy. The magic that she is planning to use is the ultimate attack magic from the Divine Magic Archive. The atheist Hinata was praying to a god. Finding this very fact ironic, Hinata hated this magic. However, her preferences aside, the magic that Hinata knows, the strongest among it, is limited to the ones taught by the church. Her hands stretched out in front of her, one is drawing some complicated symbols in the air, while the other is drawing geometric shapes. After quickly weaving such a complicated spell, a completed magic circle was now before her. The decorative glasses have by now fallen off her face, and I lift my prayers to the heavens. I ask for a holy strength. I beg for my prayer to be heard upon all of creation. Disintegration. A power befitting a god. Though it's not an area attack, since it targets everything from the atom to the soul, it is considered the strongest anti-personnel magic. Upon completing the chant, a brilliant white light shot out from her hands. A blinding light. It traveled to the target at a speed of 300,000 kilometers per second. Equal to the speed of light. The skill completely vaporizes the target via holy energy. The downside, it requires a long time to prepare. Amidst a magic fight, or a duel, it is not a power you can use. Moreover, it requires a large amount of energy to use, and can be used at most once per day. However, there is not a single being who could withstand this attack. Now, the hideous slime, who barely feels any damage from the environment, has disappeared without a trace. This is also a skill which only erases its target. It's over, huh, you were harder than expected. Hinata sighed in relief, and so muttered. Using spirits, she notified the Holy Barrier Knights squad to dispel it. She had originally thought that there was no need to erect it, but the informant insisted that it was necessary. Had she fought without it? She thought not further. She refused to consider meaningless possibilities. Moreover, she was busy thinking about what the slime Rimuru has said. The kids? What was that about? Ah, whatever. Thinking about it wouldn't help. What can she do about something she has never heard of? After confirming that the barrier has been dispelled, Hinata thought about the future. Would she be able to gain complete control of Tempest if she set off for the city? First is information gathering. She decided to first learn of the subjugation team's progress, so she returned to the church. By now, the monster named Rimuru was completely forgotten. Whether they were strong or weak, there's no use thinking about something that was erased. The chance that the monster was still alive was completely ignored by her. That is the secret to her strength and her greatest weakness, though she herself is unaware of the fact. Hinata's only thought at the time was, I need a new sword. And thus she left. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tensei Shitara Slime Taken, WN. Chapter 67, Forest Assailants. Translator's Corner, Cast, an English clown and staff. Staff, hey, what are you doing in the corner, nut yob? Seriously, where did my life go so wrong? Clown, why am I in here? What did you do with Pierrot? Staff, who? Listen, I don't care how crazy you are, but this PRO person does not exist. Clown, yes she does. What did you do to her? Staff. Clown, answer me. Staff, you know, no matter what happens to you in here, I can just say that you hurt yourself. Clown, this is clearly medical malpractice. Staff, dead people don't talk. Clown. Staff, you know what they say, I want to die peacefully in my sleep, like my grandfather. Not screaming and yelling like the passengers in his car. Birth of a Demon Lord Arc. 067. Forest Assailants. When I confirmed that the barrier has indeed fallen, I decided to finally come out. At the exact same moment. Are you well, my master? Ranga worriedly jumped out of the shadow. No problems, I tell him while confirming the state of my body. Seems like I'm okay, the skill returned to what it originally was. Seriously, what a screwed up tale this has become. What a horrible person she is. Picking a fight without even hearing what I had to say, well, I did play along, though. But, contrary to my expectations, I was defeated. No, not defeated. They do say that escape is also a victory. Wise men steer clear of trouble, they say. As I thought, devoting myself to escape was the correct decision. Since I only tried to escape, now that I have, this is my victory. That's a little painful to say. So let's call it a draw. This was a really close call. I was able to survive thanks to the insurance I set up beforehand, but this was almost the end of me. Since I felt overwhelmingly disadvantageous, I created a clone and planned my escape. Had I used magic energy to make it, she would have found out, so, instead, I physically separated a piece of my slime body and sent that away. I was able to escape thanks to the minimal activity state and thus avoided being affected by the battle, but it was still a pain. Had she foreseen my ability to split this way, that would have been the end. But since she didn't know all of my abilities, she couldn't plan that far. And I guess no one would plan for it by default. Thus, I was saved. I timidly left the battlefield, and reached what used to be the boundary of the barrier, and thus lost some time. I'd die if Hinata spotted me, so I devoted all my intention to hiding my presence. As a result, I was able to successfully escape, albeit with difficulty. However, Hinata is way too strong. With that strength she doesn't need a barrier, but she still goes out of her way to use it just in case. Seriously. Cut me some slack, will you? This time, I couldn't even scratch her. She didn't even see a reason to wear armor. Are all world travelers and summoned ones that strong? Seems like there are many skills for me to snatch away. By the way, this fight's harvest includes Hinata's rapier, the skill she used, and data on her magic. Even in Gluttony's rampage mode Great Sage kept up the data link. I also ordered it to record data for future reference. Honestly, I didn't believe I could win from the start. Moreover, disintegration is so powerful it sent chills down my back. You can't protect yourself against that. Even a multiple layer barrier will be pierced resulting in death. No joke. I'm really fortunate to have seen it. So in face of such magic, the only thing you can do is to run away or to interfere with the drawing of the magic circle. It would have been great if I could absorb and analyze it, but I had no such chance. Life isn't that easy. The moment I saw it, the data link was severed. And just receiving feedback from the clone made me feel dizzy. From what I saw, you can't evade it. Chances are, the target is marked by spell, so unless you dispel the barrier, you're a gunner. Could Milim endure it? Let's ask her the next time we meet. That's how much data I was able to acquire this time around. You could even say that this was my victory. But let's just call it a draw. No. I'm not being a sore loser. This isn't the time for jokes. I worry about Tempest. I tried transferring to Tempest. By the way, though I can feel the destination, I don't feel a response from it. That's bad, isn't it? Is this the weak barrier that Hinata spoke of? I should return as quick as possible. Off we go. I said to Ranga. And, with a heavy heart, I transferred to the cave of the seal. In front of the cave, which was just outside the barrier, gathered Gable and his troops. When he saw me. Oh. Rimura-sama, we are in trouble. He called out. Seems like my fears were coming true. I can only lament the time I lost fighting with Hinata. I have no time to chat here. Having so decided, I established a telepathic link with Gable's group. And, while thus conversing, hurried into Tempest. This time, I forcefully accelerated their mental abilities, allowing them to report within a moment. As a result, I unfortunately put Gable in charge, but this is the wrong time to mind such decisions. Thanks to this I got a feel for the situation. Here's what happened. About an hour ago, a report came in. They spoke via spirit communicators, and were thus able to hear the news. A number of assailants have come, it said. Sui intended to find out their identity via shadow step, but he couldn't use it. Moreover, telepathy stopped working. So, though slightly panicked, they remembered about the spirit communicators. Created as a spare, we were fortunate that it allowed conversation between the cave and the city. According to the information Gable heard, the adventurers were also in a state of panic. And, approximately 15 minutes ago, the reports stopped coming. So Gable told me. Gable's group was ordered to protect the cave by Rigurdo. But they were very worried about the city, so were arguing whether or not to send a scout. To send or not to send, they couldn't get their priorities straight, which resulted in a split of opinion. Alright, I got it. You guys retreat and protect the cave. Please capture the invaders without killing them. By the way, Bestardano is asking whether he can make a trip to the Dwarf Kingdom. Have him wait for a bit. When the situation becomes clearer I don't particularly mind, but right now is no good. Understood. Please take care of yourself. The telepathic link was cut. 15 minutes, Had it not been for Hinata's meddling, I would have made it. Stealing my heart, I shadow step closer to the city. Chances are if I leap into the city, I won't be able to leave the shadow. So I leap close enough to fly to it. That leap I was able to make without a problem. And flying magic set at highest speed, I headed for the city. The barrier spread around the city put up a resistance. But, holding my left hand in front of me, I absorbed a part of the barrier and thus broke through. After successfully entering the city I felt the barrier mend behind me. Inside, the magic concentration has dropped significantly, but magic energy properly flows. This barrier is clearly inferior to the holy barrier used against me. What a relief. After entering the city premises I hurry to the center square. A large crowd has gathered in the city, their faces gloomy. Something happened it seems. My heart quickened in anxiety. After noticing my arrival, the group opened a path and knelt before me. And, in this state, a few people appeared before me. Rigurdo and Kaijin. Rimura-sama, we are overjoyed that you have returned to us. There are matters we must hear your opinion on, so please come this way. They are preventing me from continuing forward? Seems like there's something up ahead. I have a bad feeling about this. Rigurdo, Kaijin. Move about the way. What happened? And nothing. Some small problems here and there, so for now. Don't try to hide it. Move. At my command, the people timidly cleared the way. What appeared before me, that scene. Countless monsters lay there. Men, women, and even children. Appearing as if they were sleeping. All dead. Why has? I can't feel my feet. What is this, what has? No good, I can't think straight. A total of 100 friends lay before me. All, are dead? You're lying, aren't you? My mind doesn't focus. Though I have no need for it, I feel out of breath. Though I lack a heart, it beats violently in my chest. What is this, what happened? My voice escaped my lips. A cold voice that can be heard from far away. I felt my heart grow cold. Rigurdo explained to the trembling me. A while ago, we were attacked by a group which identified themselves as the followers of the Western Saints Church. We suddenly lost contact with other groups, and due to the sudden lethargy we felt. Furthermore, we were attacked by a group which disguised themselves as adventurers. Western Saints Church, the group Hinata spoke of arrived faster than I expected. Next, a hobgoblin elder continued. As you have ordered, we welcomed the humans with respect without harming them. Fool! Are you trying to say this is Rimuru-sama's fault? Rigurdo countered, enraged. Please forgive me. I meant no such. A distant apology resounded, but it did not reach my heart. I see, my words caused this. I am a monster. Who used to be a human? I just wanted to get along with humans. Reality is far more cruel. Then what should I be doing? Who knows? Think for yourself. A voice rang inside my head, denying responsibility. But I will not permit it. I am the cause of this tragedy, the responsibility is mine. I felt extreme regret and bottomless anger well up within my heart. Calling a conference of elders, we reconfirmed the situation. Even in this shaken state, my mind was able to properly assess the situation. First, there were 10 assailants. In 10 minutes, they were able to kill 100 of us. By the looks of it, the group that set up the barrier remained outside of it, so their actual numbers are unconfirmed. This is what they said. The West Saints Church has condemned this city as a den of monsters. Within a week, along with the Pharma's kingdom, we shall cleanse this land. We are led by the great hero, King Edo Marisu. If you choose to surrender, we shall guarantee your lives and existence in the name of our God. Cease the pointless struggle, and surrender. Otherwise, only death awaits you. O wise adventurers! You should know with whom justice lies. We hope you shall choose wisely. That is all. They said, and ran out. And while screaming so they mercilessly slaughtered women and children. Benimaru seemed like he had something to say, but was holding it in, his face clearly in pain. But for them, who are in charge of taking care of the city, such a thing would never have occurred were it not for my order. My words have caused this tragedy. The adventurers who have come here. Next door. We came over. A number of traders were there, totaling about 50 men. They said. About this, please. We can fathom the reason behind Pharma's kingdom's aggression, but we the adventurers have come to like this place. We cannot accept the methods the Pharma's kingdom has employed. They said they will come to attack, would you let us help prepare the ambush? However, to make an enemy out of the church, what an unpleasant tale this has become. And other such lines. I can feel their attentiveness towards our suffering. Feeling gratitude for their words. I appreciate the sentiment, but we will clean this mess up by ourselves this time. Rather, I would like you to bring news of this back as soon as possible. In that case, shouldn't we just send a messenger? That's no good. Why? I explain my thoughts. Rather, what I suspect the people lying in wait are thinking. That we are bloodthirsty monsters. They will kill the messenger themselves and pin the blame on us. So I tell them. I see. That does make sense, but would they go so far? The church which stands for justice. No way. They replied. But. No, wait a second. I remembered. Those guys might have been the infamous Blood Shadows. Remember how they even killed children without any hesitation? What? Ah, that rumor, huh? I see. That does seem like their work. Are you kidding me? To think they actually existed. Even though a declaration of war immediately followed. Well, that's just what you'd expect from Blood Shadows. Considering that their enemies are monsters, my bad. They suddenly got noisy. Seems like there's a rumor about a secret squad serving the church. A group that would laugh amidst a slaughter, fanatics. But if that's the case, then we've got a troublesome opponent on our hands. So, because we are monsters, they aren't recognizing us as a country but simply treating this as a subjugation request. Which is why the adventurers should all leave right now. If they stay behind and die, they'll claim that we had done it. When I so told them, they reluctantly agreed. So we had them quickly pack up and prepare to leave the city. Rigurdo offered them to use our carts and wagons. Thus, with many parting words, we saw off our guests from Brumund Kingdom. They promised to let the country know and come back with reinforcements. But, Will that happen? A single country could hardly make an enemy of the church. I don't expect much from them. Not that we need the help. This is this country's problem, all I have to do is slaughter the perpetrators. Personally. After all, if I don't do anything, the pain and wrath that fills my heart will not subside. Having confirmed their departure, I asked Rigurdo about something that has been bothering me for a while. By the way, where's Shin? I haven't seen her yet. Upon hearing these words, not just Rigurdo, but Benimaru, Sui, Hakura, and Shina all suddenly stopped moving. What's with their reaction? No way, could it be? That idiot didn't go for revenge on her own, did she? And no, about that. Something's strange here. They are averting their eyes. Then where is she? No one answered. If I look closely, Shina is stifling tears. I've got a bad feeling about this. Dread creeps up from the dark corners of my mind. But there's no way, please tell me that there's no way. I got it. I won't be mad, so just tell me where she is. I ask from Shina. I understand, this way, I'll lead the way. Nodding at Benimaru's words, I follow him. To the center square. There was a girl lying among the fallen. Covered with a white cloth that didn't stand out from the rest. So that I wouldn't notice, it did not stand out. Haha, to think that I haven't noticed. I can't laugh. Open your eyes. I can't believe this. Please open your eyes. This can't be happening. Why? Why has this? Shin protected a child. The magic energy concentration dropped. So her strength had fallen. Shin was always bad with barriers. And the sword that slashed her was the Ogre Eater magic sword. The explanation was given, but I did not want to hear. My heart simply refused to listen. Shin, please open your eyes. I want to cry but can't. Though my heart has been torn to shreds, this body does not feel the need to cry. I see. I am a monster after all. Somehow, I was pleased with that realization. Sorry. Can you leave me alone for a bit? At these words they all dispersed. For a bit, Shina hugged me while crying, but then followed the rest. Yeah. I want to be alone. I don't get myself. Though I feel insanity creeping in, my mind horribly calm. Extreme sadness, regret, wrath. These feelings mixed inside of me seeking an outlet. Why has this? Solution. Impossible to calculate. Impossible to understand. Reply impossible. What action would have been just? Solution. Impossible to calculate. Impossible to understand. Reply impossible. Was it a mistake to head to a human city? Solution. Impossible to calculate. Impossible to understand. Reply impossible. Hey, was I wrong? Solution. Impossible to calculate. Impossible to understand. Reply impossible. Behold, the great sage is unable to answer. Screwing with me. If this weren't my city, I would let my anger rage, I would trample everything in my path. Stop screwing with me. To steal someone important from me. If I think about it, this is the first time I lost someone close to me. Someone who hasn't lost anyone cannot comprehend the depth of this sadness. Now, for the first time, I felt pain far surpassing the tearing of flesh. Pain resistant. What a joke, it's useless. From within me, strong magical energy surged along with my emotions. Unable to withstand it, a crack appeared in the anti-demon mask. Now appearing as if a tear was flowing down my face. And then night came unannounced. I look up at the moon. What should I do? There's no answer. Though my head is clear, I can't think of anything. I kept looking at the moon searching for an answer. But none was given to me. Still, as if I were a fool, I continued this meaningless act. The light of the moon could not reach me. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tensei Shitara Slime Taken, WN. Chapter 68, Soul and Hope. Soul and Hope. 3 days have passed. Shin hasn't woken up yet. I think she sleeps too much. Really, I wish she would stop doing such a thing. No, I know. I know she will never open her eyes again. However, I did not want to admit it. I wished she could always fool around in making her usual crap and unpleasant cooking. But, such wishes will not come true. Because a dead person will never come back again. Notification. The analysis of the barrier that covers the surroundings had ended. Cancellation is possible. Do you want to execute it? Yes/no. No, you may not execute it yet. It seems, the analysis of the barrier by Great Sage had ended. It took more time than I thought, perhaps it's because of the size of the barrier that covers the whole city. Maybe, it was possible to completely analyze it because I ate some part of the barrier. Whatever. The barrier too, I don't care anymore. How is the result of the other investigation? Notification. The search result, not found. Magic related to reviving the dead was not discovered. Is that so? No, that might be so. Such convenient magic like that, there's no way for it to be discovered so easily. It's natural. Still, perhaps there might be another possibility, isn't there? Only thinking about it is useless, even if it's only a futile struggle, I will not be stopped by such things. Shin doesn't open her eyes. Isn't it natural for her to sleep? However, I'll muster all my abilities, and I will seek if there is a way or not. I will protect their body with my magic power, not just Shin, but also the bodies of all people that sleep here. So their body will not decay. Their bodies will be sustained by magic power, they will never disappear. It might be useless. However, I'm still hung up on such wish. But, there was no result. From the magic book I obtained at the school, revival magic didn't exist. Is that so? Of course it is. I'm praying that you all will awake someday, so please sleep inside me for the time being. So I thought, when I try to absorb everyone. Dana, I'm sorry. I'm late. Rimuru Dana, how should I says it? Some people's voices are calling me, there are some people approaching. Please wait a bit longer, I will soon get back on my feet. Or so I thought. Rimuru-san, you see. Although the possibility are low, it's closer to 0 actually. There are several fairy tales about reviving the dead. Hearing those words, I feel my alienated mind stuck back with a click. I sense my mind return to my body. Please tell me the details, Ellen. I turn around and face the 3 adventurers. As long as there is a possibility, I will not hesitate to take it. Ellen nods, and starts her stories. I heard Ellen's stories. Although it's just some fairy tales, it seems to be based of real event. The story went like this. A girl and her pet dragon. Once upon a time a girl helplessly watched her dragon die. The girl lamented the death of her pet dragon who was her only soul friend. In her rage she destroyed the country responsible for the dragon's death by herself. In that country resided 10,000 souls. Thus, the girl evolved into a demon lord. At that moment, a miracle occurred. The girl's soul became connected to the dragon's. As the girl evolved, the dragon also evolved. However, the miracle only reaches that far before it ended. The dragon's soul already disappeared when it died, so lacking a soul it revived as a wicked chaos dragon. As if it was faithful to what the girl had wished, to bring calamity to the world, it transformed into a wicked dragon. When she returned from her rage, the girl had become a demon lord. While grieving, she decided to personally shield the chaos dragon who was both her pet and soul friend. Thus, the story ends with the girl sealing the dragon. Besides that, there were also stories about a vampire girl who revived after her blood was drained, or about a spirit magician who was revived. In every story the character inside had a great change in their personality, as if they had become a completely different person. It had been written in the prohibited forbidden books. At the secret library of Sorcery Dynasty of Sarian, the only copy of the stories exists. But, it doesn't matter. So the problem now is evolution, huh? It's a fact that the evolution of a monster is vague. Just having a name is something significant. Isn't there a possibility? That if I also become a demon lord. However, it's meaningless if the monster lacks soul, but... No, wait. At this place, there is a barrier that no monster can pass. If you think carefully, isn't there also a possibility that the soul won't become dispersed? Solution. The possibility for the Shin's and others' souls still exist, is 3.14%. Isn't that pi? No, not that. Although it seems low, but on the contrary, for me it is tremendously high. There is 3% probability to revive them from the death, it's something to be believed on. After all, I can't believe that the stubborn Shin will be dead just like that. I must bear it. At last I see hope. Now, the problem is how to accomplish it. Whether it's possible for me to become a demon lord, however. Solution. Master has already fulfilled the conditions for demon lord's seed. To fulfill the condition for evolving into the demon lord, for seed to sprouts, it is necessary to sacrifice 10.000 human beings, souls. So, is it only that? So easy. Demon lord? To become it. So easy. I only need to dispose 10.000 trashes, what an easy work. If it's still not enough, I'll just need to dispose more. Right, fortunately, the food was already here. The wheels had turned. At that time. Ellen, for telling me the stories, you had my gratitude. However. Is it all right? For you, to let me become a demon lord? I stare at Ellen while saying that. Ellen cast her head down and become silent. Then she raised her head and replied with resolve. I originally come from sorcery dynasty of Sarian. To tell the truth, I yearn for the freedom of an adventurer. But it's all right. I also want to help Shinchan. The church is unforgivable. Just because it was a monster, it was evil? I really hate this idea. I'm talking with you, because I already understand that things will not stay the same like before. Even if I continue as adventurer, surely I'll only cause problems to the Freedom Association. So, you see. I have decided to join this country. I want to spend my remainder life in this country. It's okay, right? Rimuru-chan. Hearing those words, Cabal silently shakes his head, Giddo stares at the sky with his eyes closed. I look at them as if waiting for their response. Well. If Aju-sama says so, as a bodyguard I don't object. Nissan, no, Ellen-sama. Is it all right? The two of them look at Ellen resolvedly. It seems, they are not just a mere adventurers. Ellen, her real name is Iraihyun, she seems to be a noble from Sorcery Dynasty of Sarian. And then, she studied at Royal Capital Academy, she left the country because she yearned to be an adventurer afterward. The two bodyguards followed her. Maybe, when Rimuru-chan becomes a demon lord, the information about me would be leaked out and become known. The information about me will surely become known by the Intelligence Bureau. Even if I say my refusal, the country will try to bring me back. So, you see, I want help the best I can. Until the last minute, I want to see how this will end with my own eyes. Her serious eyes are looking at me. I already obtained the needed information. I don't know how much the response of the neighboring Sorcery Dynasty of Sarian will influence this country, but I can't disregard the fact that Ellen may be forcefully taken away. However, I had judged that there is still no explicit danger to her for now. That will be a matter for another day. Well, it will be a matter for later time. I want to avoid doing things that would increase the number of enemies. So? It's inevitable. Even so, whether or not Shinchan can be saved. Do you mind if I stay till the end? I see, it's thanks for information Ellen-san gave. Till the end, I don't mind if you want to stay. However, if I become a demon lord, and my personality change, don't hold me responsible if I end up attacking you, understood? Even if I don't like it, so be it. I believe in Rimuru-chan. Hey. Aju, you got us involved as well? Really, so be it. There is no other way, Dana. Ellen-sama is always like this every time. Even if those two are sighing, they don't oppose it. Whatever the impression they made, these two are deeply devoted to Ellen. Still, the decision had already decided by now. To save Shin. For that reason, if it is necessary for me to become a demon lord, that's fine. In about 3 days, the enemy main army will conduct their attack. The situation had already been confirmed. Now, how should we proceed? To decide this ambitious plan, it's too early to talk about it. To conduct a preparatory meeting, it is necessary for everyone to attend it. If the barrier is lifted up suddenly, Shin's and others' soul may disperse and disappear. Fearing that, I erect the greatest barrier that covers the entire city using my magic power. A surprising amount of energy is consumed by doing it, but I am not concerned about it now. Instead, compared to the sense of hopelessness that I felt yesterday, I am now feeling delighted. Despite it might seem useless if you think about it, I'm glad I analyzed the barrier. Thanks to it, there's a possibility for the revival of Shin and the others. Receiving the report that the executives had gathered promptly, I go towards the conference room. In that place, there are 3 uninvited people. The executives don't understand why the 3 are here, so they are perplexed. Dana, I apologize for things that happen now. I didn't think my country would do such reckless action. Yumu said that while bowing his head. The 2 people beside him, Grusius and Myolan, also bowed their head. For some reason Myolan doesn't raise her bowed head and kept looking down. I thought it's suspicious. Grusius, because you helped Yumu to inform me, you have my gratitude. By the way, there's an important question. I remember that there's a barrier that's covering this city that prevent any monsters from entering, so how did you guys pass it? What are you saying? I'm a human. Sorry, but there's no time to play dumb. I know the facts that you and Myolan are devil. I asked the question I had prepared before. Grusius stopped playing dumb. Yumu is not surprised by that. It seems he had already known about it. It exposed her. Even though I thought my disguise as a human was perfect. The barrier had also influenced me and Myolan. In fact, I'm only assisted. Myolan was the one who actually lifted up the barrier herself. That's right. It's my specialty, not only black magic, jujitsu/hex, and magic arts, maijutsu/sorcery, barrier arts is also my specialty. Entry is possible if you obstruct the flow of energy. But it will be restored once you enter. Other than that, there is something that I must ask to you for your forgiveness. It was the first time she raised her head, and made eye contact with me. Something she wants to be forgiven for? I don't think there is anything like that. While drinking the tea that Shana served, I decide to hear the 3's stories. Actually, I'm a subordinate of Demon Lord Clayman. Clayman is the Demon Lord that was called as the Marionette Master. The mission he gave to me was to do a secret investigation of this city. And so, I reported to him the information about this city that I obtained. At that time he was in a good mood and said, "After you finish the next ordered task, you will be released." Something like that. I was deprived from my heart by Clayman, my life and death was in his hands. Because of that I can't go against any of his orders, so I was rejoiced that he would reward me with my freedom. And the last order he gave me was, Yumu and the frontier garrison suddenly received a summoning order to return and report. Even if it sounds strange, all of them couldn't disobey the order and so they returned to the Earl fiefdom in Falmus Kingdom. Then, when they entered the Earl fiefdom, they noticed that there were a lot of soldiers. When the scout returned with the information, which said, there will be an attack on the monster's country. Yuma that recognized this as Remuru's country, immediately asked Grusius and Myron to relay this information. Those 2 are new recruits, they are also not the Earl's subordinate, so their face hasn't been known yet. So they can be left out from the Earl summons. Receiving their orders, Grusius was to report to me, while Myron was to inform the city. But then, the tragedy occurred. The reason was, because the report from Myron never arrived. That was the reason why Myron is asking for my forgiveness. The cause why she never sent the message was because she received Clayman's order. This is what Clayman said that time. It has become interesting. For a war between human and monsters to occur. What an ideal development. Myolan, this is my last order. Don't relay the message to the monster's city. Human and monster detest each other, so induce them so they come to war. The purpose was to cause a war. Although he said that this was the last order, she never received her heart back. And thus we come to this condition right now. Dana. You can be angry. But, I hope if you can, please forgive Myolan. Yumu is desperately protecting Myolan. However, does the fault lie with Yumu? The one, who wronged me, was not Yumu, but the government of Falmus Kingdom. No. It is the king himself. Yumu and I had a common goal. He also regrets he wasn't able to inform me, but he didn't have any bad intentions. This guy, Yumu, has a strong sense of responsibility. I think he was a good guy. I then stand up, and walk naturally to besides Yumu. And, I casually move my hand and pierce Myolan's chest. Dana. I heard Yumu's voice panicking, I'm ignoring it. Myolan opening her eyes widely in astonishment, and resigned herself to her fate. Because there's a clear difference in ability, it's useless to resist. A wise decision. With my hands, I crush Myolan's temporary heart, and lift the curse, and then I create a new core. It's something easy for me to do now. While she opened her eyes widely with a confused look, I speak to the motionless Myron. It was fortunate, there is a possibility that Shin and the others can be revived. If I haven't heard about the stories, you would be dead by now. She, still, alive. I ignore the reactions from those three people. This is your last chance. So, use it well. I speak. Yes, I won't forgive another failure. Myron, with this you are now free. Be good to Yumu. From now on, go where you want to go and do what you want to do. But, before that please tell me everything you know about that damn bastard Clayman. Myron nods to my request. And so, I learned many information about Clayman. So in conclusion, it is Clayman who instigated Gelmudo to manipulate the Orc Lord's rampage incident? To that question, Myolan silently nods. Hearing this, Benimaru and Hakura fold their hand with a glum look on their face. That person, I decided in my heart that I will personally murder him. Manipulating people and bringing conflicts. Not only that, this time he also caused our city to be swallowed up in this great misfortune. Forgive him? Like hell I will. I had heard enough information, now is to ask her what she wants for her future. Well, even though I finally got a taste of my long-awaited freedom, I think it is fine to be tied again for the short period of a human lifetime. So that is her answer. Yumu face turns red. There is not much that I can do in this situation, but giving them my blessing. I see. By the way, Yumu. I have something to ask you for. It's my pleasure. If it is what Dana wish for, I will do anything. Good. I knew he would say that. It's like what I planned, just like helping Myolan. I didn't had any plan like this before, but now I won't permit any failure. You, please become a king. I said it like it was a petty thing. Wha? Yumu looks at my face. I then explain my idea to everyone. Basically, this time everyone who attacks us will be eradicated. This point is not negotiable anymore. Then the next problem is the Falmus Kingdom. Shall I massacre every citizen in there? So it's like that, but there is no reason to do such thing. If the sacrifice, souls, numbers isn't sufficient to fulfill the requirement to evolve into Demon Lord, I would, without any second thoughts massacre them all, but fortunately it seems that the number of people who are going to attack are sufficient. From the information Yumu had, the number of troops exceeds 10,000. It was really helpful, this is what I really think. It's weird that I would say it was helpful for the enemy to have a large numbers. Because the requirement is to kill, it is something that I can easily do right now. So after annihilating the army, what will I do next after becoming a demon lord? This is the problem. Even if I kill everyone who dares to attack, if it possible I want to hold a ceasefire agreement. But after I kill everyone in the upper echelon of the government, who will be the responsible party for such agreement? Not only that, if the central government is empty, the citizens will surely become concerned. So? That is when your role come into the stage. How's that? Yumu is thinking. Yumu's role is to purge all the corrupt officials. Thought I will kill every bastard that comes into my sight, I want someone to depend on to cleanse all the remaining trashes that still remain in the country. At the same time, calming the citizens, and to be crowned as the new king. It's for the sake of establishing diplomatic ties between our countries. Don't say it so lightly. Me? Become a king. Isn't it easy? Even I become a king. So you can also become one too. Well, even if I become a king, it's more like a demon king. Yumu, Rimuru-sama, think if it's you then you can do it. I also will, in the stormy days or in the sunny days, I promise to always be there to support you. Those words of Myolan acts as his support. Now with heartfelt resolution, Yumu nods to me. Those two, they are really affectionate to each other. We shake hands. The preparatory meeting had completely ended with every detail pointed out. Now about whether I become a demon lord or not. About whether Shin and others can be revived or not. Someone who lost their life cannot return ever again. However, Shin and the others haven't been lost yet. So there is a possibility. I am an atheist. I don't believe in any gods. But, now I decide to hold a prayer. To the one who governs all miracles. If it was Hinata, in this situation, she might choose to ignore such a useless act. It might really be useless. But if I sincerely believe when I pray, Shin and the others will surely be okay. The moonlight's reflection, which basks me with those small lights. And those lights, seems to gently affirm my prayer. TL, thanks to Valadaline who help on correcting the tenses and other mistakes. Smiley face, if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tensei Shitara Slime Taken, WN. Chapter 69, Birth of Demon Lord. This chapter contains gore and cruelty depiction. Please skip if this disturbs you. TL, of course you won't, right? TL, because the point of view in this chapter changes between Rimuru and third-person narrative, I give the POV remainder below. This chapter is long, so please comment if you found mistake. Chapter 69 Birth of Demon Lord. POV, Rimuru. After the conversation about Yumu had ended, the real strategic conference begins in earnest. Everyone is looking at me with stiff expression. First let's hear their opinion. First of all, before I give my own opinion, I want to hear what everyone had in mind. Hearing that, everyone start to actively give their reply. Only Gable himself that use spirits, it can't be helped. I want to avoid disturbing the barrier for many times. Everyone put together their opinion. To sum it out, there's an opinion that the human who's responsible for the cowardly surprise attack won't be forgiven. Certainly, that's true. I don't think that's wrong. There's another opinion, there is also good human, so it's not good to lump them all indiscriminately. Hearing such opinion, I'm glad. It's not good, if we incorrectly reach our goal because of anger and resentment. The second one is the majority. This proves that the monsters wish to live in coexistence with human. They still follow my rules, even after the tragedy occurred. They are my dear companions. The important people that I can call as my family. The me who doesn't really love anyone, I who think that love is something shady. While everyone is calming down, I decide to. Everyone, please listen. Everyone is looking at me. When I get everyone attention, I start my story. I am a former human, a reincarnated person. Although everyone raises their voices, no one try to interrupt my story. I think Ranga may already know about this. He may had heard it while reside in my shadow. Everybody seems not really surprised, maybe they already aware about it before I tell them. Seeing the situation is like this, I keep continuing. I am a person who comes from a different world. In that world I was a human. When I died at that side, I reincarnated into this side. As a slime. In the beginning I was alone and lonely, who can predict that I can make a lot of companions? You guys. Perhaps, you guys attain your humanoid form when you guys evolved because it was influenced by what I wish inside. That is why I made the rule, do not attack human. I said that I like human, because I was a former human. I make that rule, without any intention for any of you guys to be harmed. Even though I am a monster, My heart is a human. Because of that time I held such selfish preference. Because I was a former human, I also want to get along with human. The result, I neglect to see what's under me, so it came to this. I think that I am the one who responsible for all of this to happen. I am deeply sorry. Hearing my story, there's no one who let out a word. Each of them, try to understand my story. Silent descend on the room. It is a fact that Rimuru-sama is a former human. However, I don't see any problem that may arise from this. Hakura said this with serious face. I don't expect this reaction. Traitor. I expected to be treated like an enemy. But your master is a former human, right? Isn't it unpleasant? To that question. Why should I? My only lord is Rimuru-sama. I also think like that. And so on and so on. And at the last is Rigurado. Rimuru-sama, everyone feeling hasn't changed a bit. There is no need for you to worry about this anymore. So he said. I nod and think. As I expected, this is the place where my heart belongs. I am really happy. After seeing me nodding, Kaijin opened his mouth. So, I want to hear something. What you intend to do about interacting with human from now on. Everyone turned their face to me. Yes, that is a problem. Apart from the monster, this is a great problem for Kaijin and the other dwarfs. When the time comes when I declare human as my enemies, I will be considered as a new threat. Well, such thing may not come true. Now, I express what my idea about this. First of all, before I give my final answer, I will share what I think about it. In my previous world there are views that were called Seizensetsu and Seiakutsetsu. The view which assume that human nature is basically good, Seizensetsu. The opposite view, which assume that human nature is basically bad, Seiakusetsu. I think that both views are correct and also both are wrong. Maybe inside, human had both natures in equal proportion. If it leans to the good nature side, he will become a good person. However, if it leans to the bad nature side, he will become a bad person. In truth, I had this view. If you not trying to do anything immoral, then for me you are a good person. Thus, if someone didn't detest or distrust just because of us are monsters, then they are a good neighbor. I want to believe in that possibility. But because I want to believe it, I underwent this experience, I fail to properly distinguish the cause from the result. Thus, this is my answer. For now, I think it is too early for us to be at a stage where we can ally with human. The first important thing to do is for my existence is acknowledged by the others. For human, someone who amasses massive power can't be ignored. In addition, by becoming a demon lord, I can restrain the other demon lord's action. To everyone who went against us, we will bare our fangs and retaliate. To everyone who lends their hands to us, we will grant our blessing to them. To our opponents, we will do to them what they done to us. In the future, I hope that we can be linked in a friendship one day. This is what I think. TL note, I don't found any equal Western philosophical term. The closest one I had is Seizensetsu as idealism. Yakuri Uni-san. I don't excel in philosophy. Guro, ed, and English, go, so mean. Don't mind. XD. So I finish my speech. He then responds. That is an overly naive and idealistic thought. Honestly. It's not a speech fit for someone who's going to become a demon lord. However, I don't dislike it. With a sigh, Kaijin said his thoughts. Shanaya's smile while giggling. Isn't it fine? Even if it's just an idealistic thinking. I think that if it's Rimuru-sama, you will be able to create such world. So she declares her support. In any case, we decided to follow you. That's what it meant to follow. There is no need to think about it. The one who just abide the rule without thinking, Gerudo, sincerely make his frank but meaningful declaration. Hey, to make Rimuru-sama into the king. Isn't that my duty? Benimaru also. I am Rimuru-sama faithful shadow. I will perform any instruction that I receive. Xiaoai also. We will establish a new country, aiming to change everyone way of thinking. Yumu also said it. Everyone, each respective words, they show their approval. I receive the weight of their words. To push my foolish ideal, there is no need to make an excuse for it next time. I understand. Please follow my own selfishness. To my words. Dana, Rimuru-sama, we know, understand, it was your selfishness. Is a chorus of everyone's voices. Well then, it's now the time for the strategic conference against the military invasion. The ones who invading this time, are allied forces of Falmouth Kingdom and Western Saints Church. Approximately, the main forces of Falmouth Kingdom are composed of 5,000 regular knights and 4,000 mercenary. Having accepted the request from Falmouth Kingdom, the Western Saints Church sent their crusaders of 2,000 infantry, and 3,000 anti-monsters squad. And, the most troublesome, are 1,000 knights from the Church Chivalric Order. The total count of the army is 15,000, a powerful war forces. Yumu's subordinate that was scattered in various places comes with this information. It seems the number of the forces that assembled is more than I expected. How should we arrange our war formation? Gerudo said while bracing himself. In any event, my corps will make their stand at the front. Benimaru is also highly motivated. He had formed a private hobgoblin corps. Is this come from Hakura's guidance? Riguru commands the goblin wolf riders whom are in raging state. I am not the only one who's angry by the tragedy. However. Sorry, but this time, I decide that only me should go. No, I want you guys to leave it to me. What do you mean? Benimaru asked as the representative, I then explain. This time, is for the ceremony of me becoming a demon lord. The necessary sacrifices, souls, for me to become a demon lord are 10,000 people. It's fortunate that the ones who foolishly invaded are 15,000 which are more than sufficed. This is a necessary ceremony, process, for me to become a demon lord. So this time, only me that is needed to annihilate the invaders. So I said. Actually, there's no need to do the massacre personally. It's the answer from Great Sage, as long as the deaths were conducted by my intention the condition will be cleared. A sudden thought crossed in my mind, maybe the goal of the Demon Lord Clayman is to cause the war and to gather 10,000 human souls. Because the attack by a person is limited, war will make it easy to harvest their souls, this might be his true intention, that is, to evolve to a new Demon Lord. My prediction might be correct, for a small fry to wage war by himself is impossible, but it is something trivial if it is me. It wasn't the reason why I choose to fight alone. It is because I feel the need to take responsibility this time. I can't always rely on other person from this moment. If I am defeated here, then that means I was only worth that much. Though I understand that this is my own selfishness, but there is a reason behind it. Besides, there is also a task for you guys. Currently, I believe that Shin and the others' souls are locked inside the barrier. So, if in the war the barrier is disturbed, it may become undone, the souls might disappear. Though it is reinforced by my magic power, if the fight begin the magic power may be hindered and it can disappear. I want you guys to reinforce the barrier, and call out to Shin and the others. This, I don't know if it is really necessary, but it's a request I want them to do it. Even if it's only raising the possibility a little. Currently, I am emitting my entire magic power. To maintain the barrier, the inside of the barrier is also filled with magic power, energy. Physics and magic have the same rule, from macro to micro. In other words, the space is filled with energy. I think that the souls that covered by energy will held in place and not become dispersed. If the soul's protection disappear, it may pass the barrier and dispersed. Human can enter the barrier without any difficulty, because their magic power component is scarce. Regarding the soul, because it is a pure energy, it is hampered by the barrier. Monster's astral body is composed by magic power. I think to increase the probability to prevent the energy dispersion. If I go to the war, I want the remaining person to maintain the current barrier condition. If I want to be able to use my whole power, this is the best solution according to Great Sage's opinion. Maybe, even if Hinata come along with the invasion forces, I will still be able to kill everyone by myself. I had seen her skill. That is, my biggest advantage. I won't allow myself to be defeated for the second time. Seeing my determination, Benimaru nodded. Acknowledged, this time we will leave everything to Rimuru-sama. Please do our share of rage. I reply with my nod. In the first place, there is no intention to forgive the enemy. I receive everyone's acknowledgement, I will become the only opponent for the invading army. The 7th day. Below me I see host of soldiers are marching. But now I can only see them as food, nourishment. Those bastards, they will become shins. Properly speaking, there should be a war declaration. But, right now, the enemy has already declared it and it has been received. In that case, these bastards, I won't leave any of them alive. There is no need for survivors, there is no need to fight fairly. Those human, trash. To become nourishment for my evolution. You all should be grateful. I'm now high in the sky, soaring with my mimicry wing. I looked down at my below and confirmed the situation. There is no problem. I developed a new magic just for the sake of killing these bastards. Now let justice be done. Die. Be pierced and burned by divine indignation. God's wrath, Megiddo. Dancing light rained down from the sky, it reflected repeatedly above the ground, it pierced the soldier bodies without meeting any resistance, and so the massacre begins. In the army, there are magic divisions specialists that erect defensive barriers. Even if the number of opponent is high, if it in short distance the will defeat them in one blow. So to take cover under the barrier range is the common sense of this world army. Of course, there is also defense barrier carefully prepared this time. Even if they march to a city with high-level monster, which they considered as a joke, the level barrier is still skillfully done. However, in front of my new magic it doesn't have any meaning. In this world, the principle of barrier is emphasized in the defense against magic power. So it means that they hadn't any resistance against things that abide law of physics. That is the result of the analysis of barrier, so that fact has been confirmed. If you think about it, the heat from 1000-degree flames can be stopped completed by a barrier, etc. So what is the cause that the barrier is able to interfere with the natural phenomenon? This world is to manipulate magic power to invoke interference in physical law. That's why, to prevent it, defense barrier prevents the entry of magic power. Except for the one with big magical power, it is hardly impossible to break a barrier, since it prevents the entry of magic power, it become impossible to cause any physical interference inside it. So, what about? Because it rewrite the physical law because of the spirit's power to cause interference, it still had power although is in smaller scale. Of course if they put spirit barrier, usage can be prevented. That is the reason that the most basic barrier had multiple, more than 2, layers. Therefore, to swap such notion, I decide to invent a way to turn magic into pure physical energy. I take inspiration from Hinata's disintegration, entrusting Great Sage to turn it into practical application. By entrusting all calculation, it was easy to put it into practical use. I create several 100,000 floating water droplets in my surroundings. Far up in the sky, there are several dozen giant floating water droplets similar to convex lens. The convex lens-shaped water droplets up in the sky receive sunlight and converge it into a thin line. Down below the water droplets form reflective mirror array, that is used to converge it more. The water droplets are created by me with water spirit energy. Thus, the sunlight that the water droplets reflected, converged to become as thin as a pencil and its temperature reached 1000 degrees. All the water droplets catch the sunlight energy, this is reflection converging magic. This is my new magic, God's wrath, Megiddo. At the first simultaneous firing, not less than 1.000 soldiers get hit and die. Below me, the march become chaotic, God's wrath, Megiddo, attack is instilling panic. Of course this is not the end. Using the most optimum calculation, by adjusting the position, the second attack commences. Not able to resist it, more than 1.000 soldier die. This magic has a frightening aspect. That is, the energy cost is low. The water droplets created by the magic at the final point of the firing, will evaporate and disappear because of the heat, but it's possible to replace them in an instant. For that reason, I use water spirit magic. The water can be created without using too much energy. This process can finish under 1 minute, and then it's possible to fire it again. After all, I only need to replace the water and adjust its position. And, the magic power is only needed to maintain the water spirit. The energy source that contributed the most is the symbol of natural energy, the sun. The only problem is that it's only usable at daytime, but it's daytime right now. All problems are cleared, now I can finally clean those people, trash, below me. Without any sound the hit comes with the speed of light, not letting the soldiers to resist, they all pierced and burned, it's a massacre. Soldiers with poor armor, knights with superior metal armor. They all killed equally without any differences. However, I don't aim at a particularly splendid carriage. It's uncertain if the king gotten in it, but it's impossible for him to remorse if he is killed. But I'm not that merciful. The rewards for invoking my imperial wrath, I'll make sure he received it. Initiating a one-sided fight, only about 5 minutes, 2/3 of the invading armies were incapacitated. It's such a good time. I'm slowly descending to the ground with my fluttering wing. To those foolish ones, I will give them further despair. POV, the all-knowing great narrator in the sky, third person. Right now, what had happened in front of his eyes? King Edamalis can't understand it. No, it's not only King Edamalis, the head of Royal Palace Magician and the Knight Leader too, nobody from the upper echelon can understand what happened here. Arm, my arm. Help, please help. From where the heck it's coming from? The battlefield, instantly turned into hell's pandemonium. Just a while ago, the morale is high, they all fully confident of victory. The veteran knights who survived through many battle, from unknown direction light comes and penetrate their chest rewarding them an instant death. The still young volunteer soldiers, trying to escape without understanding what had happened. The dispatched knights from the church had full confidence in their barrier, but those barrier are meaningless, I sneer when their head is penetrated. The weak and the strong, everyone equally trembling in terror. No one tried to retaliate. Maybe, if Hinata is here, she might able to respond immediately against it and erect a. After all, is a secret in magic arts. Person who able to use it are limited and the effective range also small. But Hinata is not here, so there's no use to imagine a hypothetical situation. King Edamalis felt the terror that makes him hard to breathe, he desperately tries to endure it. He tries to protect his dignity as a king. Thinking desperately with his confused mind. No matter how you look at it, this military endeavor has failed. To escape with their life from here, but it's already too late, that won't happen. Why did it turn out like this? No, that is not important right now. Falgen, what should we do? He asked his dependable knight leader. The honorable knight leader is the strongest in the kingdom. He is not inferior even to a rank A adventurer, he is a hero with long military history. A trusted retainer that the king can depend on. And yet, there is no answer from Falgen. Falgen, what happened, why are you not answering? Falgen. In fear and confusion. He said with his voice mixed with anger, he tapped the knight leader's shoulder. Shaking violently, his sturdy body tilts, and collapse. If you observe it closely, his temporal region is gone, the brain has leaked out. Gasp asterisk. King Edamalis shout in horror, he fall down and unable to stand due to fear in his carriage. The carriage is an open type, it was used to boost everyone's morale but now it had backfired. While discharging warm liquids from his groins, he tries to escape by crawling. Now, he doesn't care anymore about his dignity as a king. Die, if he stays in here, he will die. Falling into state of panic, he frantically tries to run away. However, there's no one who notices the king appearances. Because every one of them desperately running for their own life. The symbol of justice against monsters are the 1.000 knights of the church chivalric order, however they had been killed without chance to do anything. While they are inferior to holy knights, each of them is equal to a rank B adventurer in term of battle prowess. The one who should have absolute superiority against monsters, are annihilated in a blink of an eye. Their fall into panic, is of course justified. At that time, the soldiers who spills tears and mucus from their nose, they all look at the sky. King Edamalis also look at the sky. Someone is descending from the sky, a person with a black bat-like wing. The person height is not that tall, wearing a beautiful mask. On that mask, there is a crack that resembles a crying face. Wearing a sublime beautiful black kimono, with beautiful black hide armor at the outside. That person didn't carry any weapon. That person is a demon. No, it's Demon Lord. It's a Demon Lord. His instinct screamed. At that time, at last, the king realizes the grand mistake that he had committed. It is not something you can fight against. The one Burmand kingdom had relationship with. The Demon Lord in front of him, that outfit. It must have been woven from beautiful silk cloth. That appearance. The Demon Lord in front of him must be the ruler of that city. That means, Hinata Sakaguchi from the church. Did it means that she failed? That calculating cruel witch, it had been said that she never failed in her task. But, it wouldn't be strange if it because someone who surpassed that witch. This demon, had such an aura drifting from it. For all that, it's a fact that can only be accepted. This demon carries the same appearance that is similar to the Demon Lord. No, there is still a chance. At that moment, an idea flashed inside the king's mind. I am a king, I might be able to talk a way to it and negotiate. That is a skillful thinking. After returning to the country then I can prepare a counter-attack. If he is the opponent who gladly conducts negotiation with Burmand, there is no doubt, it must go down to its knee at me, the king of a great nation Falmus kingdom. Like this. The king had lost in his foolish thoughts, and he commits another great mistake. In this matter, he is no longer angry and desperation for his life is his biggest motivation on his thoughts now. POV, Rimuru. Well, I see a terrible situation when I arrived in the ground. With magic perception, I obtain information of the situation perfectly, I can reliably pierce the vital point from blind spots. Occasionally, to create confusion, I purposely blow off an arm, a leg, or the body, the screaming from pain that emerge causing further chaos. This terrible situation is progressing in the way I had imagined before. The surviving soldiers that see my appearance fall further into fear. Help. Although I heard the voice that seems to begging for his life, I don't care about it and pierce the middle of his forehead. It takes time to get used to it, but now I can control the beam according to my intention. The angle of reflection is simple, it's low cost, so I can shoot as many as I like. If you converge the heat ray into a single spot, it will reach thousands degrees, so it will arrive at the point where it is possible to pierce a human with it. If you had learned the principle behind it, it is possible to shoot it optimally at will. There is only little time lag, in other words, it is the same as speed of light, if you can see it then you can't avoid it. For example, if you shoot it from 10,000 kilometers, the time for it to reach the target is about 0.034 second. Even if a human eye receives information about it, the time for it to be transmitted and reach the brain is much slower. This calculation to aim precisely cannot be performed without using the Great Sage computation ability. As one would expect from Great Sage. I once again become amazed. If it is used from close range, even me with Great Sage's compensation, will have difficulty in evading it. In my situation, if I for a moment sense it, it's hard to know if I will be able to dodge it, I will leave it to fate. So it is impossible for a human to dodge it. I shoot at some people who try to run away crawling similar to the one whom prostrating to me, while doing that. Confirmed. Unique skill Heartless One acquisition. Succeeded. It is not the Great Sage but the voice from heaven that I haven't heard for a long time. How to put it, this skill sucks. Although one may say that it can't be avoided for me to receive this skill. When I wonder what kind ability it had, that bastard begin to talk. Wait. You, Kisama, must be the lord of that city. I am, Edamalis, the king of Falmus kingdom. Behave yourself. I hear what you, Kisama, want to talk. That dirty Asen flapping his mouth. When I see him, his nether region is wet with piss, his face is decorated with tears, mucus, and drool. What a gross figure. Is what I want to shout. It's like the feeling when my browser crashes. Oh well, the one I targeted introduce himself, it's a good thing. With this I can get the mastermind. What? You just want to hear me. So I answered. I'm impudence. I am the king of the great nation Falmus Kingdom. You, Kisama, are a being that by all rights had no privilege to address me. However, it's fine. This time. Then, in one hit, the arm was burned off. He doesn't give off an appearance that should receive someone else respects. Furthermore, he still doesn't aware of the current situation. He won't die, but he will sobered up with this. Well, he may die in agony, but if possible, the one who should kill him is not me, but the person, Shin, who had the grudge is the one who should do it. Listen, you, trash. Look at your opponent before talking. Don't get cocky just because I am kind person. You are permitted to talk, continue. At the beginning, just looking blankly, is the Asen who stares at his missing left hand. When his brain catch up, it seems that the pain instantly attack him. He screams and began rolling around. He is a great person? But he seems to lack any honor? That one who said to be a great person equal, Asen in front of me now, my mind hardly can find the resemblance. Oh dear, well, I think my anger has calmed down a bit. However, if this person dies, I'm afraid that my anger will rebound back. Is there nothing more you want to say? You can continue display your dance, but after 10 minutes, it will end, you hear me? Hearing my words, he looks at me, and seems to try to speak something. His voice is not in fear or pain. What an annoying Asen. It can't be helped. I will leave him in pain for some more time. The Asen reluctantly raise his head. I will only say it once. Speak. I threaten him. At first, his words sound faintly, but at last it seems he becomes more settled. And so? My country wants to enter a diplomatic relationship, can't it be done? It's a good talk, right? I had been deceived. I don't think that the city had a reliable person like you. However, it's fortunate that it's the opposite. The country with this wonderful hero can be considered as a diplomatic relationship partner. If you enter diplomatic relationship with my country, then we can mutually be in peace together. If you secure peace with my country, then you will receive the support from my country. This is mutually benefiting us, isn't it? Either way, I will also introduce you to the council. How's that? Of course, you will receive it. Here. This guy, is he a genius? How can I become this mad? He want to taste more agony no less than death, is that what he talks about? The Asen, without noticing that I am baffled by him, keeps talking without reading the mood. For now, let just shut his mouth by burn off his right leg. Though he is screaming after getting shot, he won't die. Even if you don't do anything to stop the bleeding, the blood will not bleed out because the blood vessels had been cauterized. Because it's best to leave him alive, it was convenient. I notice the surroundings somehow become quieter and so I take a look. It seems that the surviving soldiers fear and respect me, they all are prostrating in the ground. They pray desperately, for the first time they are begging for their life. Unfortunately, such decision was already too late, my generous heart was painted by anger. Right, the analysis of unique skill Heartless One had just been completed. The effect is, to the person who begs for their life, with its ability it will be possible to seize the soul of the person who begs for help. In other words, this ability works against people who lost their fighting spirit, which sent death sentence to them. Though the skill wouldn't be much of use, this time the ability is extremely useful. Question. Do you want to use unique skill Heartless One? Yes/no. Yes. I answered with a calm mind, there is no hesitation. Immediately after I use the ability, besides the king that I didn't specifically set as a target, and without being able to offer any resistance, everyone else died. With my ability, several thousand surviving soldiers perished. The battlefield that was filled with waves of pain and fear had become calm. To end the pain and fear instantly, consider this as my benevolence. For the king that remains alive for now, there will be further pain and fear waiting for him. At this time. Notification. The necessary human soul, nourishment, for the requirement of evolution, seeds sprouting, had been confirmed. Recognized. The requirement had been met. From now, evolution to Demon Lord, Harvest Festival, will begins. The voice of the world resounds in my mind. Without my consent, my body begins to transform and organized itself. I am not a person who called himself a Demon Lord, I am the one who turned into a true Demon Lord. On this day, a new Demon Lord was born in this world. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tensei Shitara Slime Talken, WN. Chapter 70, Harvest Festival. Translator's Corner, Cast, Kanzaki Yuuko and Yoshida Yasutoshi. Yuuko, Grandpa, Grandpa. We came over to play again. Yasutoshi, Yuuko-chan. You've grown up again. You used to be tiny as small the last time you were here. Yuuko, teehee. Oh, and Grandpa, I have another joke to tell you. Yasutoshi, let me hear it. Yuuko, If you want to know who is W. Man's best friend, put your dog and your wife in the trunk of your car, come back an hour later, open the trunk, and see which one is happy to see you. Yasutoshi, haha. Oh my little clown. You would make a killing in the circus. Yuuko, killing? That's Scotty. Yasutoshi, that means you'd make a lot of money working in the circus. Yuuko, no. Me and Aiko decided that we wanted to be doctors like Grandpa. Clown, a dream. Birth of a Demon Lord arc. 070. Harvest Festival. What the hell? What the hell is that fiend? Seeing the chaotic dance of light and recognizing its danger, Raiheim lay hiding inside a carriage. The monster's city was still surrounded by the barrier, and nothing unusual was reported by his men. So, whence has this monster come from? The Saint Knight's barrier, even an inferior one, should have protected against entry from high-rank monsters. At the very least, had one entered or left they would have been notified. Nonetheless, with a little thought, it was clear that the monster mercilessly slaughtering his men before him cared little for things like barriers. The Blood Shadows squad he borrowed from Cardinal Nicholas dispersed into hiding and were observing the situation. As expected of them. Like Raiheim, they were all pretending to be corpses. If this is how it is. He lamented the inadequacy of his report. When asked regarding reinforcements, he firmly turned them down. After all, while they were declaring war on the city, they rampaged a bit and were able to cut down the only powerful demon, a woman, among them. Nor was there any retaliation. So this war should have went smoothly underneath the barrier. Thanks to the battle barriers set up by the Western Saints Church's 1000 Division, every member of the army could be considered B-ranked. At the very least, it would unimaginable for them to have to go all out. The monsters fleeing the city should have been easily exterminated by the kingdom's knight alone. So, he decided to reject Sakaguchi Hineda's offer. But, even if she had come, could she protect them against this? That suspicion filled his head, and he hastily dismissed it. There's no way. Sakaguchi Hineda is the strongest existence, how could she fall to a mere monster? The moment he thought that, silence enveloped the battlefield. As if freezing rain falling on his back, fear overtook his heart. What the hell happened? Those screaming in pain or crying out of fear, why have they suddenly turned silent? At that moment. Oh, look, survivors. Merrily saying these words was a young girl, or perhaps a young lad whose voice is yet to change. Survivors, she says. But before he could realize that the words were directed at him and the blood shadows, he felt an intense pain coursing through his body. When both of his arms and legs were cleanly burned off, he finally beheld that demonic fiend. At this point, he could no longer run away, nor retaliate. All Raiheim could do was pray to his god. Unique skill heartless one, huh? Nah. I am pretty heartless, teehee. Fear towards me is one thing, but when their hearts break I can activate the skill. In other words, at that moment, my enemies' souls are in the palm of my hand. They live and die by my will alone. Even if I let them go, should they choose to rebel again I can erase them that very moment. And as this field trial has shown, it works even on enemies who are escaping. It targets anyone I recognize as an enemy. In this case, the entire army I saw from the sky was target. I had intended a complete genocide, yes, but even so, I had expected a few of them to run away. Well, thanks to Heartless One, problem solved. I didn't think I could put the skill to use, but I guess I can. It is certainly one desired by rulers who intend to rule with fear. In the future, all I have to do to end a conflict is to break my enemy's spirit. Oops, magic perception is picking up something. 13 men. The fact that they survived means their spirits aren't broken yet. Of course, that excludes the king. 13 people still intending to fight. Could any of them perhaps belong to the Blood Shadows who attacked the city? For now, to prevent escape, let's burn their feet off with Megiddo. By the way, there are many people whose legs I blown off, hands I burned off, or heads I pierced. In short, they are a very scattered bunch. My, what should I do? Magic perception is getting overloaded, and I am beginning to feel dizzy. Ah, I did hear that evolution was about to start, so I guess I'm going to lose my consciousness. Ranga, are you there? I await your command, my master. There he is. Ranga jumped out from within my shadow. Without intending to hinder me, but in case something unforeseen happened, he was on standby. Good. Ranga, gather up this filth and bring them into the city. Do not kill them. I am returning there ahead of time, I'll let Yuma know, so hand them over to him. What about those who have escaped? I thought for a minute. 3 men escaped. Normally, Ranga would easily be able to win, but they are at least A-ranked. If they work together, it might be dangerous to send Ranga out alone. But, I have no desire to let them go. I'll send someone else after them. Upon capture, I'll leave them at your disposal. I live to serve. Confirming Ranga's answer, as if taking a break, I began gathering my power. And, started high demon summoning ritual. As an offering, I will use the corpses under my feet. I had considered eating them, but I doubt there are any useful abilities among them. The blood shadows will have to suffice. I don't know what kind of demon I will summon, but, considering that it probably won't be able to materialize, as long as it's of some use, I'll be happy. That is, as long as it can hunt down escaping fools. I prepared thy meal, come forth, demon. And serve me. What appropriate words I now choose. I wonder if the demons will be satisfied with the offering. Just as I was thinking that, 3 demons appeared. Considering the past greater demon, which was rank A-, they are inferior compared to Blood Shadow troops. With that in mind, I had intended to summon 30 of them, but only managed 3. Hey, are you telling me 15,000 corpses were worth only this much? Well, I did devour their souls, so maybe. No good, since coming to this world this is the first time I'm feeling such intense desire to sleep, my head is spinning. Hey, you guys, there are 3 escaping fools. Capture them alive and bring them to my subordinate Ranga. I said as the dizziness became unbearable and I became to lose my consciousness. I must reach somewhere safe. The demons behind me. We are honored to receive our first order. This grand offering you have bestowed upon us fills our hearts with endless joy. 'Tis but an easy task, O forthcoming Dark Lord. Can we expect to be later put to use by you? They expressed such a greeting, but my consciousness was quickly waning. We shall talk later. First, prove that you can be put to use. Go. I said and transferred back to Tempest. To bypass the barrier I had prepared a magic circle in advance, it worked. Benimaru rushed over to me so I had him take a message for Yumu. And, sitting down at the place we prepared beforehand, I lost consciousness. That deep sleep I fell into was the first time I was completely unconscious since coming to this world. When Rimuru had gone off to battle, the city split between those who worked to keep up the barrier and those who were on their knees praying. The former gathered in the center. Since the barrier dispels magic energy, they worked hard to increase it even a little bit. Everyone was busy dutifully fulfilling their roles. In the center lay the bodies of Shin and the others, preserved by a barrier. In the very center stood the magic circle Rimuru had prepared, and shrine they had built to welcome the coming of a new demon lord. Surrounding all this was the group maintaining the barrier. Shana was among them too, along with Myolan, who volunteered to help. Shana thought. Rimuru seemed to worry about the fact that he used to be a human, but that was but a trivial fact. For Shana, all that mattered was a connection to her partner's soul which would put her mind at ease. It willed her endless euphoria and complete satisfaction. If she were to lose Rimuru, she would definitely go mad. Rimuru-sama, we would be happy even if we had perished, as long as you continued living. But, Rimuru-sama, losing even one of us throws your soul into such discord. She murmured. Benimaru nodded at these words, showing his complete consent. It is possible for the kind-hearted Rimuru's character to change during his transformation. If so, when you become a demon lord, please spare us a violent character. They prayed for this not to pass. Benimaru, Sui, Hakura, and Kurobi were on standby. By Rimuru's command, that should he turn into a mindless beast, demon lord, that they dispose of him quickly. That's the only outcome they hoped to prevent. It's because you're always sleeping, Shin, wake up already. That whisper was more of a prayer than anything. The one they prayed to was not any god, but a single monster. One who had never betrayed their expectations and who would certainly deliver again. So they believed. And then. Announcement. Individual, Rimuru Tempest, the transformation into Demon Lord, Harvest Festival, shall now commence. Upon its completion, related monsters shall be blessed with a gift. Every monster that had gathered in the city heard the voice of the world. Seems that Rimuru was successful at destroying the invading force. In that case, it is now their time to shine. Brace yourselves. Our master has emerged victorious. It is our turn now. Benimaru's voice resounded throughout the city. The city came alive. Rimuru could not have been crushed by losing Shin. And, as planned, Rimuru will be returning. As ordered, they were to let Rimuru rest. Upon reuniting, they decided on a code. Just in case Rimuru had showed up as a mere beast. Now then, how's Shin's cooking? I ask. Got it, it's horrible is the response. Who the hell thought up this crap? Rimuru sleepily said. His head no longer spinning out of drowsiness, he muttered the complaint with little force behind it. The one who had thought of it was Benimaru, of course. He had not forgotten that she had forced a new recipe on him before. So if she were to wake up with a complaint, yet another wish he made to Rimuru. If only things went according to plan. Benimaru and the rest desperately worked to bring the plan to fruition, completely forgetting the world's words. That gifts were coming to them was completely out of their minds. Rimuru fell into deep slumber. His consciousness slipping from his fingers, he could no longer maintain the human form and reverted to being a slime. Failing to reach the darkness he was in. Announcement. The transformation into a demon lord, the Harvest Festival has begun. Body reconstruction has begun, transforming into a new species. Confirmed. Race, transforming from slime into demon slime, successful. All parameters have been greatly increased. Ability to freely change between material and spiritual body has been added. Species abilities are decomposition, absorption, endless regeneration. Furthermore, with regards to acquired resistances, new ones have been added. Physical attack nullification, natural effects nullification, status change nullification. Spiritual attack resistance, holy magic resistance. Reconstruction has granted the following skills. Now, with regards to daily skills. Magic perception, heat detection, super olfaction, auditory perception, demon lord's ambition have been added. End of script. Evolution has been completed. And being but a concept of a unique skill, without having any self-awareness, but for the sake of serving its master, Great Sage desired to evolve. Announcement. Additional evolution shall be attempted. Attempting to evolve Great Sage. Failure. Attempting again. Failure. Attempting again. For what seemed to be an eternity. Integrating unique skill shapeshifter, success. Unique skill Great Sage has evolved into Wisdom Lord Raphael. After attempting a million combinations, finally a result. The Harvest Festival bestowed upon it such a gift. The ability to evolve a skill. to what this world knew as the ultimate skill. That was something thought to be nearly impossible to occur. After many failed attempts, such was the results. That was something desired by the skill in order to fulfill its master's request, but, as a mere concept, it felt no joy. It did feel sympathy, however. But for it to feel sympathy and not joy. With the newfound ability, it went to work on its master's request. But, to fulfill it, perhaps. Again, evolution resumed. Gluttony integrated with Heartless One and thus evolved into gluttonous King Beelzebub. In order to fulfill its master's request. Thus, while Rimura's consciousness was shrouded in darkness. In order to fulfill his wish, his skills evolved in silence. But the Harvest Festival did not end there. The gifts Rimura would bestow were granted to every soul he was related to. That was the festival that accompanied the evolution. A festival where a demon lord species evolved into the true Mu. The festivities have only begun. Few true Mu existed in this world. Evolving into such was for a demon lord as difficult as for a normal person to evolve into a demon lord. Among the 10 demon lords, only 4 were true Mu. Even those who have lived for many eons were not guaranteed such status. Orc Disaster would have become such, but was stopped in the middle of his transformation. Thus, the demon lords watch each other, in hopes of preventing others from evolving above them. And now, a new true Mu has been born among them. An event which would destroy the balance of power and bring chaos to their ranks. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible.